everybody. How are you doing? Happy Saturday. I see somebody is coming to the basement. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So, how's your Saturday going?
So far, so good.
Oh, good. So, my day was pretty relaxed. I didn't do as much. Oh, I'm gonna bring up our Mister 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 Clock. How are you doing?
What's going on?
Good. How was your day?
Very unproductive.
Same. Remember that list of things I was like, I'm gonna try to do today? Yeah, none of that happened.
Yeah, I went downstairs and fell asleep on the couch, and it rained here like crazy.
Oh no!
So that made the sleeping very easy.
Yeah. Well, and you got my nap in that I said I wanted earlier. Tony, what about you and Lisa? Did y'all do anything fun?
No. She went to some sort of Disney tea party thing down at one of the parks and took the daughter and grandchild, and then worked with Angela or with Kelly a little bit on. She's going to do a Discover Scuba class with me on Monday.
Oh, cool.
So I've kind of worked with her a little bit on the equipment, hand signals, and kind of what to expect.
That's really cool.
Yep.
So cool. Well, again, we didn't do much either. Chloe and I just kind of we were at the house all day. We didn't really just did like minimal things. I didn't get my nap in, and neither did she. So if you hear her kind of whining, I'll quickly mute. But just know that's probably because we're trying to get her in bed, and so there. That's how it goes. So, Clock, you were the first one in the chat today. So, hello.
Hello.
Cruise Nuts. I hope y'all are doing well.
What's going on?
Mike and Tracy. Yeah. Tony and Lisa. Uncle Dave. And rad to see that. Hi. Thanks for joining all of us. So, Clock, did you want to introduce your channel first?
Clock Family Adventures. We do cruises, theme parks, and any kind of travel, essentially. Getting ready to head to Vegas in October, so I'll have some stuff from there, and then got several cruises planned, so I'll have some other content for that.
Do you have any group cruises planned?
Well, actually, I do. I have a group cruise on Utopia of the Seas, September 13th through the 20th of 2024. Which it's actually 2 legs. It's going to be the 13th through the 16th and the 16th through the 20th, because they're making that ship a just a 3 and 4 nighter for like at least a year when it comes out. So it comes out in July of next year, and we're getting on it in September. So it's going to be still a brand new ship.
I'm excited for that ship. I was talking about it today actually, and how excited I am for it. And I'm excited to be there to see your group cruise.
Yep. Excited to have you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So, Tony and Lisa, do y'all have you want to introduce your channel just in case on the replay? I know everybody here may know it, but just in case on the replay.
Okay. It's Traveling Chuck, and we're basically putting up cruises from the events and stuff like that from the cruises that we have. We don't have a whole lot of content yet, so we're going to be adding some additional stuff until we can add more cruising information. Lisa's working on becoming a travel agent, and we're not sure if she's going to have her own channel or how that's going to work quite yet.
Probably not.
Do y'all have any group cruises planned or anything that you want to announce?
Well, we're thinking about next summer. We're looking at some. We have about 4 people that are interested, or 4 cabins worth right now that are interested. So we may be opening something up, putting it out as a group cruise here shortly. It'll be going out of Galveston either at the end of June or end of July.
Awesome.
We're looking at, I think it's a 8-day cruise, either on the Dream or maybe what was it, 7 on the Jubilee.
Yeah.
It'll be first time cruise for one of them, second time for 2 other of the cabins. So I'm trying not to overwhelm them with information by going, oh, do this, you want that, you want to make sure you have this.
Right.
Slow it down.
We're going to be on. We're going to be on Jubilee, July 27th. If that's one of the dates you're looking at.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's right.
It's a big group cruise that time, right? For Have Luggage Will Travel.
You're
Okay.
right. You're
Let
right.
me look and
Yeah,
see, because I do have one of the dates right here.
you're right. And when you mentioned the date to me earlier, I think I didn't even. I think I was thinking maybe I didn't even think about 24. I don't know where I was.
Yeah, that is July 27th on, I guess, on the
That's-
Dream.
You know what?
No,
And they probably have a good
Well,
group
we're doing
rate.
Jubilee.
They're doing Jubilee.
on
Yeah,
Jubilee.
well, this one's on, says the 27th on the Dream, the information I have on that. Let's see what this one is.
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
some glasses, I think.
Oh, I know. I hate that like my screen reflects into my glasses, but if not, I wouldn't be able to read any of your chats. You would all look like a fuzzy haze. And well, at least I will. You know what? I didn't even think about that earlier when you mentioned it, but I will. That was my fault. My fault.
Well, these are all showing July 27, 24 on the Dream also, so I don't have Jubilee dates right now. So,
Okay.
well,
Gotcha.
Well, I know
Back-
clock is on that family reunion group cruise with Have Luggage Will Travel, and
Oh. okay.
I'm pretty
And
sure he's fun to sail with. I would just maybe not give him your room number.
Oh,
You may end up with magnets on your door.
No. I don't know how this got on people's doors.
does it make a difference whether it's standing up or upside down? I don't know.
It normally
does.
gets placed upside down.
Hmm.
We'll explain later. Uncle Dave was up till 1 a.m. with us last night, Central Time, so 2 a.m. Eastern Time, and he was here for the long haul last night. I just can't thank you enough, but I'm glad you got to sleep in. I'm glad you're here tonight, and I appreciate you. Lynn, her name is Lisa. When I turn the thing off, it's Tony and Lisa, this traveling check. And they're from Oklahoma as well.
Excuse me? We live in Oklahoma.
They're transplanted Oklahomans.
Yeah,
transplanted. I think you've been there long enough now that you probably.
No.
I think you're officially Oklahoman.
Your dad tried that too. No.
Home is where the heart is, and it's not here.
It's not bad. It's just not home.
If you're from Oklahoma, we're just playing. Please don't be offended.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're from Oklahoma, you know the Texas-Oklahoma rivalry. So you.
Right.
Hi, Eric.
It's actually been a good move. So
It has been. Y'all have a good area up there. Hello, Jennifer, Michael, and Traveling Check. Eric B., did you meet your watch hours? I know you were close, and you were very, very close. But if you haven't met them yet, I would like for you to do #Nation, and then that way everybody could go watch a couple videos for you. And if you did make it, congratulations.
Fairly certain he did that.
I think he
last
did too, but I just want to double check.
Yeah.
I want to give him support either way.
Hey,
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
What's going on?
Cruise on. And I know he's got a countdown to the booze cruise. So that's exciting.
Yep.
Our friend Warm Strong Adventures. Hey, Bill.
Hello.
I sent you the
Bill.
link a few days ago if you want to join us. So, and then
Jennifer hasn't had as much coffee tonight.
I haven't. I'm drinking a cherry Pepsi, but I calmed it down a little bit tonight. So and Rob says 48 days. Clock, that means you've got 48 days to a cruise too, then, and Bill too. Oh,
Yep.
I'm getting jealous of y'all's cruise schedules.
Jelly.
Just saying. So I guess I can introduce our channel. I kind of skipped over that. We're Embarkation Nation. We are a family of 3 that likes to embark. Get what I did there, on adventures, going on cruising, and sometimes we like to fly to Vegas, Disney World. We go to Boston. Andrew's from Boston, and just different kind of trips. So we, just kind of like to. We're mostly about travel. Every once in a while, we'll have something up with like a local festival or SeaWorld, or maybe even just a life update. But that's our channel if you're new. He met them about 3 weeks ago. Awesome. Lynn is asking where you're from. Where are the transplants from?
Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
Uncle Dave has 13 days. Ooh, within 2 weeks. I know you said you were packing last night, so that's exciting. So the topic tonight, we were going to talk about extended cruises, booking extended cruises, researching extended cruises. And I'm glad, Mike, you're up here because you're a travel agent and going through the courses. And Lisa, I know you just became a travel agent. And as of this morning, I became a travel agent. So yes. I haven't even logged in, but I thought it would be, thank you. But I was thinking that it would be, Andrew's already one, but I thought to kind of help him and then too, I want to become more knowledgeable on what, when y'all are talking about these fun deals and all the cool courses you're going through, I wanted to kind of educate myself. So, and Uncle Dave, I know you'll be excited because you were really encouraging me last night. And so when it comes to these journey cruises, they're not as easy to find actually on at least I feel like for Carnival. I mean, you can do the filters with the days and stuff, but sometimes if you receive like your $100 offer, casino offer, it doesn't necessarily pull that cruise. And so Lisa, I thought I would ask you first, how did you find your 22-day cruise that you had a casino offer on?
It was by total accident. I was kind of just clicking around on the different features on there, and I was like, oh, hey, duration, let's look at this. And it popped up and it showed that there was, the 10, 12, and it literally went like 13, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 25. And so I just kind of clicked around and saw what the 22-day was. And I was like, oh, Australia, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, how are we going to get there? So then all these things start going through my mind, but we're looking at it. And we had actually had another one booked prior to that we
15-day from Rome.
Changed our mind on. Sad, but that's okay. We'll get there one of these days. But so we changed the Rome, which is leaving in October, 15 days from there back here to leaving out of Brisbane, coming into Seattle. 22 days, and it was $100 for a balcony room, and it was on the new to Carnival Luminosa ship. And so we learned a lot just trying to get that. And then went in and talked to my boss. I was like, hey, I have all this time. So she let me take off. Tony was able to get off. And then I told her, I said, I promise I won't do this again unless I had to go back and eat those words. So I was like, so remember I said, so yeah, that's what it is. I clicked on the duration and just kind of was scoping it out. And it was just really cool when I saw that. In the 22-day, it was Hawaii. And I've never been to Hawaii. And that was definitely a bucket list. And with my job, I'm always like, oh, so if you're off on vacation in Tahiti, well, this would to Tahiti and Fiji. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious? So yeah, but yeah, it's all started with the offer, and then I went to the duration, and at that point I wasn't real concerned about the ship because I get to go to Australia and Hawaii and it was just cool.
That is cool. I remember when you said it, I was like, what? I guess I hadn't even thought about them having those kind of casino deals for those extended cruises. We do have a question in the chat for Mr. Clock. Where's Mrs. Clock?
She is watching movies with my daughters down in the living room.
That's awesome. I just have to say I love your Sunday show with Ricky. Like, y'all have such a great mix, and I love how y'all lovingly bicker back and forth, and it's a lot of fun. Y'all are both just, every Sunday I'm like, I can't wait to cruise with them. Andrew and I are so excited about it.
Yep.
And
I
then
can't get her on here any other days.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Uncle Dave said, yes, TA Jen. Yes, I followed your advice. Well, it was many people's advice last night. I was about to cry. Y'all were so fun and supportive. Hello, Denise. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Rob with Cruise Brothers. And Lynn says, tell Ricky I said hi. And then I saw that Rob has a question. How do you become a travel agent?
Well, Rob knows, but I joined Cruise Brothers, which is the same as Rob from Cruise Brothers over there. And it is actually a free thing to do with them because they don't give you as much commission on your sales, but it's totally free, and you don't have to worry about coming out of pocket to try to test it out, to see how everything is. You may not end up liking it, or you may not get any sales right away. So at least doing it free, then you're not putting out all this money for the training and things like that. And I thought that was the best way for me. So
cool. I agree. And I considered that. Lisa, you got a very similar story to me. Andrew is with Main Street Travel, which he paid, I think, $99 for. And it kind of starts off with Disney. So like with them, you have to go through the Disney Academy courses first, and then you can go into others. But Main Street Disney, it was kind of cool. But that's where he started. So I chose that one because that's where he is. And I thought if I'm helping him, probably should have the same host. It probably wouldn't be a good idea if I was with Cruise Brothers and I can't see anything that he sees. So I went with the same one he did. And then Lisa, I think you were the same way because of Andrew's recommendation.
Yeah.
So Rob, you can, I know but I think it's a good question for those who maybe don't know in the chat, if you're considering it, because we've been talking so much about travel agency and all the fun talk last night there. I would just say, do your research to what host agency is best for you. Some are monthly, payment, some are free, like Mike said, and some are like a one-time fee like ours was. I think Bruce is also, but his is maybe a little bit more than ours was. But you also need to look at what they're providing and what's best for you. I mean, if you're looking for like, I want a website, I want this, I want that, I want, just kind of maybe look at what that host agency is offering, and like maybe Expedia might be better for you, and just kind of research. For me, I didn't want something where I'm paying something monthly because, I don't know what my schedule will be in a month or two from now.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't want, $75 out of my account. And I'm like, I didn't even take a course yet. So that was why I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's why I went that way as well, because I still have a full-time job. And so that's not going to be my main job at this point. It's going to be friends and his side of the family, probably, since I'm still referring everybody to Andrew at this point. So just finished my Disney Academy, so I'm ready to get started on the rest of it.
Andrew gave me warnings. He's like, take notes. So hi, Cruising with Keith. I hope you're doing well.
Cruising.
And Scott McNeil, I hope you're doing well. I know we are just over 100 days until we cruise with you, so I'm excited. I think I know you've probably got a cruise before then, but when we cruise with you,
yep, he'll be with me on the booze cruise.
That's what I thought, but I was like, let me before I say it. So you become a travel agent, or you're working with a travel agent. You find a good casino deal. That's how you find a Journey cruise. what are some things to maybe consider? Like, and Clock, you can maybe answer this too. Like, what are some things to consider when you're looking at those extended cruises? I know I have never personally taken one because of, well, time and time and money. Um, and but boy, I want to. So I thought maybe just kind of some of things that y'all have considered of why you did it, and Clock, why you haven't. Lisa, Tony, do you want to lead?
Yeah.
Well, actually, the 22-day was the second one we had been on. I had found a 10-day. It was, the shutdown reschedule. I'll just put it that way. We were supposed to go to, where is it? Somewhere, and then cruise back in, and that didn't work. So we ended up I'm sorry, it's late, and I was out with a bunch of kids today. So I found one leaving out of South Carolina and going to the same ports. It was just, instead of starting in Puerto Rico and then coming home, it was a what do you call it? A lock cruise, whatever, where we left South Carolina and came back to South Carolina. Closed loop. And the thing that, you have to worry about flying in, and the flight, I think we ended up having to go, leaving Oklahoma City and hitting 2 airports before we could get there. And so there was that. There was the hotel to stay there, because you definitely want to go in the day before, if at all possible. But man, when we looked at the 22, there were things. Definitely join the cruise page and get a lot of information from there, because I didn't even think about visas, and they were like, oh, you have to have a visa to go here, and you have to have this to get into Fiji, and you have to do that. And we're like, oh my gosh. Okay. So it was definitely, the 22 was definitely a learning experience for us.
And then come to find out, once you got to Australia, when you boarded the ship, they took your passport and kept it until you reached Hawaii. And then once you got, just before you got to Hawaii, they gave it back. And it had something to do with being able to get into the other countries. It made it, at least that's what we heard, is that way they had everything and could get it done before the port. And just made it easier for us to get off the ship and get back on. But one of the things we had was that when we got our last passport, we also got the passport ID along with it. That way, because I was leery about turning my passport over and not having it, because what if we accidentally got left in one of the foreign countries? Well, our passport's on the ship, because they took it. Well, with the passport ID, we have that. At least we had that in our wallet.
Yeah.
So we even though we gave up our passport, we had an official passport ID that acts just like your passport.
Yeah, the passport card. Same size as the driver's license.
Yeah.
And I use that a lot with my work travel. I'll give them that instead of my driver's license with my home address on it. So I keep that with me all the time. So that was definitely a good thing to have too. And it's not real expensive to get. And
right. I definitely recommend it as well. Clock, I'm gonna ask you, because you're kind of probably similar to me, why you haven't taken a extended journey cruise.
The main reason is because of work. If I was in a spot where it didn't really matter, then I'm a union, so I can technically do the time and just like take a layoff somewhere, do a 20-some day cruise, and then when I get back, go ahead and take another call somewhere else. But I just haven't done it yet. Part of it is because of the price. I don't really have any of the casino deals. So really, I say that, but most of the 20-some day cruises are kind of cheap anyway, because they're most of the time they're repositioning cruises. So they are definitely a good deal. The only other thing is getting back from the flight, you figuring out where you're flying. I've never left the United States as far as flying anywhere. So that's another thing. And when I looked at going on the Down Under Cruisers cruise in 2025, the price of the flights was going to be $6,000 by itself, and it was just a little too much for what I wanted to put out at the time.
And I agree with all of those. And another thing too is, if you have kids, like, maybe school schedules too, and pets, what we don't have a dog, but we have goats and a hamster. She would probably be okay, but I'm just saying, like, if my mom could check on her, but I would worry about the goats and stuff too. That's a month being away from your house is kind of, and then worrying about your house too. So those are just some of the reasons why I haven't. But the more I'm seeing them in the different ports, because I think I've heard Bill say before, like, how the Caribbean is the Caribbean, right? And I'm like, well, hello Ireland, and hello Barcelona, and Disney, you got a new ship in Singapore. Oh, okay, so it's starting to tempt me more, and I feel like probably if you're in the chat, you probably also are hearing about these awesome extended sailings in all these different areas and maybe considering it as well. We did have another question in the chat. Cruising with Keith asked, what is the longest time you booked ahead for your cruise? For him, it was 427 days. I have had one that's 600 days out. Yep. I think
you have one that's 600 days out.
Yeah.
That's Alaska.
I think we probably were 700 at one point because Santa Claus knew that I wanted to have him assist in getting Andrew a Christmas present to Alaska in 2025, but we didn't necessarily have all the Alaska money at the time, so we needed it as long as possible to pay that one out. So we booked it really far ahead. But there's also been times where I've been like, hey, casino deal, and then like a month later, 2 months later, we're on a cruise. So if you're in chat, I would like to see your longest days. So Clock, I know yours. Lisa and Tony was the furthest.
Ours was like 500 and something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The one out of South Carolina, because we lost it at the beginning of the shutdown and didn't go until after. So it was, I don't remember exactly how long, but it was quite a while.
There were some, when ours was canceled during the shutdown as well, I was like, well, I don't want to turn around and rebook, and then it just keep getting canceled because of the way things were at that time. So we scheduled 2 years out then too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, June and Brady.
Wasn't that one a reschedule, and then they shut down, or they moved the ships, and so they canceled that cruise?
Yeah, they actually closed Puerto Rico as far as being a home port. You could still visit, but they were shutting it as a home port and transitioned the ship out of there. So that was why we didn't get to go there to begin with. And then, but I mean, it was still, they had other ships that were home porting out of there. I was like, why isn't Carnival? And I never looked into it any further than that. I was like, okay, next. And exactly. I don't know that I could do a 600-day cruise because that's just too long to anticipate. Not cruise, but waiting that long. That's just too long to anticipate. I want to go now.
Well, I'm already itching to book for 2026.
Understand? You see the it's 10 cruises.
Oh my!
That's just my last one.
Yeah. Clock is like, we're like Clock, or Clock is like us. I'm not sure which one is the influencer here, but we're the same way. I said hello to June and Brady. I hope you're doing well. I'm just making sure with all this cruise talk, it's making him want to book a cruise. $6,000 for a flight. That's crazy expensive. Smart move. Yeah, those flights, there's been times I've gotten a good cruise deal and then it's like, even to Miami, I'm like, whoa, I'm not paying that $800 a person. I'll just wait.
I don't know what it ended up being when we went to Brisbane, but I was like, oh, it's only this much to go to Las Vegas. So let's go there, and then we'll jump from Las Vegas to Long Beach, and then from Long Beach we'll go to here. So I mean, we hit I don't know how many airports.
Well, we went from here to Oakland. Here to Oakland to Honolulu, from
Yeah.
Honolulu to Sydney, from Sydney to Brisbane.
That's
That's
a
a-
lot.
There you go. Good
It's a
job.
lot. June and Brady said that they're going on a 25-day cruise, and they had to hire a house sitter, and they have 4 dogs and a cat. Yeah, pets are definitely a consideration, I think, if you're wanting to look at one of those long extended cruises.
Yeah.
I booked for this December last October. Bone Tired Travelers, 539 days. Liberty just booked a few days ago. Oh, hey, that's exciting.
Mhm.
New bookings. I'm itching to book a cruise. I sent Andrew a few Disney Treasure cruises today. I sent him the is it the adventure? What is it? The adventure, the Disney Adventure in Singapore. I looked at some Hawaii cruise. And Andrew was like, Jen, I just wanted to look. I was just looking.
You look at some of them cheap ones.
I looked at some cheap ones too. I was up till 4 a.m. the night before looking at some of the cheap ones. That's where I got that. I was so ecstatic when I opened it up and it said Ocean View or Interior, and there was like 22-day, 25-day. I'm still trying to figure out how to make those work. Hence the topic today. You're helping me decide.
Well, I got an email the other day. It says last chance to book your free balcony room, and I'm like, you'll send me another one. I hope.
Maybe not.
I hope.
Ooh, I don't know. Bill
So-
has said that the carnival gods are mad at him.
So MSC, when you complete your training on your travel agent, MSC is doing a big thing right now for free rooms. So I just booked one the other night on MSC Meraviglia out of New York for an 8-night. It's kind of oddball. It goes to Miami, Nassau, and then their private island, and then back up here. But it cost me a total of, with me and my son, with the highest internet package, it was $660. So $330 a piece or something like that.
That's good.
Yep.
Maybe I need to look into that too.
Yeah, I was helping Andrew, but I thought too, maybe I have a princess offer, you have a princess offer, you have a MSC offer, I have an MSC offer. Wait, Disney too? Okay. So
Big
those
question is, can you both use them for the same cabin, or are you looking at 2 different
No.
cruises?
I would look at 2 different cruises.
Oh, okay.
I would hope I'm his +1. He may take Clock. I don't know. He was trying to figure out how to get on that MSC cruise with Clock, and then so Scott's doing a 13-day transatlantic and then a 14-day in April. Wow. Well, Scott, you've done like I think you were on the Pride and stuff, right? When it went over from
Yep.
Tampa. I think I watched some lives on that. When I'm leaving a cruise, I tend to book another one. I do too. I think used to, I would get off a cruise and then I would be so sad because I wouldn't have another one booked. Well, then I was like, okay, the goal is to have one booked at least every 18 months. Well, now that's kind of turned into 6 months, but I don't recommend it.
I guess we're slacking. We only have 2 booked right now and looking at a 3rd. So
Well, Clock,
Well,
Clock
a lot of
always
that
has-
has to do too, because I don't get that a whole lot of leave.
yeah.
right. Well, Clock always has these awesome deals, and I have to go look, and then I have to talk Andrew into, why.
Yeah.
But at least that's what I'm gonna go with. 180 days out. Uncle Dave booked one 180 days out before and wound up being almost 550 days. Yeah, that was a whole weird thing. I'm hoping that doesn't ever happen again. Mike, is that for Americans, or is that deal for only Americans or anybody? Do you know?
I think he's saying that that's only for Americans.
Oh,
The MSC, I think has some sort of thing in there where you can only book Americans on the cruise.
Oh, okay. That's interesting information. We're going on the 11-day on the Miracle in May. We paid $800. That's a good price on the Miracle. We had the Hawaii booked on the Miracle for next April, and it was going to be a 15-day cruise, and we had to cancel it. And I'm still kind of very disappointed that we had to cancel it, but good things will come. They're going to Alaska. And hello, Shantirement. I hope you're doing well. So, on the, what kind of draws you to the extended cruises? Is it maybe the ship, or is it that it's maybe a transatlantic and you get a lot of sea days, and there's a couple ports, or is it just strictly the ports and being somewhere different?
For me, it's definitely the ports. Like I said, the chance of getting to go to Hawaii and then Fiji and Tahiti, and man, Moria was just blew all the others out of the water. It was, I don't think I'd even heard of Moria before, but man, It was beautiful. So it's definitely the ports. And the next one will be because it's going to Okinawa. And that's why we changed from Rome to go to Okinawa for him.
Clock, what allows you to, what makes you want to take a second look at those cruises?
I would say the same thing, the ports, because it's going to different ports. And Bill really sold the Luminosa to me. So most of the time, the ships that are going those distances probably aren't the best ships anyway. So it's mainly the ports. And that one really sounded like it had a lot of good ports on it with the Tahiti and just starting in Australia right there off the bat, something different.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend trying to go in at least 2 to 3 days early. We got in
the day before.
We left Sydney at 6 a.m. and arrived in Brisbane at 8:30. Time we got to the hotel, it was, I paid to check in early. We went in, took a nap, and then it was like half the day was over. At least our hotel was in the downtown area. It was connected to a mall. We could just walk to some place to eat, but definitely
had to go to the Harley shop.
Yeah.
For my boss. Since he allowed me to use some sick leave for my he made special arrangements for me to get off. He made it to where I could take off that many days. So when he was asked if I could go by the Harley shop and pick up some t-shirts, I was sure.
Yeah. Yes. What do you need? What size?
Yeah.
That's how I would be.
Made sure I went to the Harley shops. Tried to find Harley shops everywhere we went, but the only place that we ended up was there in Brisbane and Honolulu.
Hi, Sherry. I hope you're having an amazing night. I saw that you were celebrating with some friends and stuff. And hey, Together We Travel. Well, I hope y'all are doing good. I know y'all have a lot of journey cruises and awesome travels that y'all have done. So I would like to say hello to y'all. And I thought I saw another comment, but maybe I didn't. I did see it. June and Brady say for them it's the ports as well, and that's why we consider it as well, is because of the ports and the different experiences. If you're I know some of y'all are here in Texas that are in the chat, or maybe South, that there's a lot of Cozumel, a lot of Roatan, a lot of Nassau, and so when you see Tahiti and Japan and England and Ireland and these different things, I think it just kind of, you definitely take a double take. At least I do. Those are places as a kid, I don't know. Oh, Cozumel, Mexico, woo, yay. But I think as a kid, I never thought would I ever really get to go to some of these places? And I think that is why cruising to me is so fun and exciting is because, like, you know, you're going to places, you're not having to do as, you know, it's kind of guided in a way, like, you know, that you get the options for excursions and you're not having to drive, like driving in a foreign place. Like, I mean, to this day, like, you know, I live here in Corpus, but even driving in Houston, I'm just stressed, you know, if I have to go there. So, you know, and then to add, you know, somewhere maybe where they drive on the opposite side of the road, or maybe
Right.
street signs I can't read or understand, I think it just adds to it. So I love that, you know, cruising provides that, in those, you know, those extra amenities with cruising as well. You don't, like, not unpacking and packing 100 times.
Yep.
Emo Cupcake, I hope you're doing well. I know who you are. Hope you're doing well, Kelly. So yeah. So let's see. I'm trying. I had Lisa. I know I kind of read over some questions earlier. So we've booked with a travel agent or ourselves. We've gotten a good casino deal. We've made sure our pets and our home are, you know, taken care of, and we're getting ready to go on this journey cruise. You mentioned visas and passports. Maybe what are some other recommendations that you would that you learned on a you know, extended cruise that maybe you hadn't thought of if you just did a 5-day to Cozumel?
Well, oh, go ahead.
Well, the biggest one for us was going into Australia. Come to find out, you had to have a visa. Even though you were flying in to go on a cruise, you had to have a visa in order to get into Australia. And so you had to register. You know, there was they had a quick online application that you could register. You paid a fee. I think it was good for a year. And then, but once you used it, it was only good for 3 months or something like that. I forgot exactly what all the conditions were, but we got it well in advance, and it was real cheap. And we were notified like within 10 or 15 minutes that it was approved. But if you didn't have that, then you couldn't go. There were some people that they apparently didn't know you had to have it, and they waited too long and didn't get it. So they ended up having to cancel because they wouldn't let them go on it.
That's good
And
advice.
Also local currency.
Good one too.
Fiji, I think they would not take anything but the Fijian money, and so we had to have that. We got a little bit of the Australian currency, just a little bit, not much there because we didn't plan to be there very long. What else do we have? Now, Hawaii obviously wasn't a problem, but pretty much any of the other ports that we went to, and same thing coming up. And somebody posted, we had been talking about it this morning with Kelly. Mm-hmm. She's going to turn back in what we didn't use. And, you know, and I was like, you know, we have to have yen going to Japan. I said, some of those places will not take, you know, won't even take a credit card. So you have to have the Japanese yen. So I was like, maybe we should just switch it over for that, since we were going to have four ports in Japan.
5 including Okinawa.
So I thought, well, you know, depending on what we do, you know, on the excursion, when we go to Okinawa, I've got something booked for that. What was that movie?
Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's where it's at. So we'll get off the ship, go do that, and probably come back. May not spend much, but if he goes diving in Tokyo, then I'm going to, you know, search the area and, you know, go on something and try to, because we're there like all day, like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I definitely want to have some money to go to the local thing, you know, shops and stuff, and try to get, now hopefully in Tokyo, they'll take a credit card, but I want to be prepared just in case. So we'll probably just have her switch the Fijian and whatever, I forget what it was, CR.
Franc. It was the franc.
Franc, yeah. Just switch those for yen, so we're ready, and have them when we get ready to go next time. So,
is that something different too? When you go on those like the long cruises, that the time in port is a lot longer than what you would normally get on like a 7-day cruise?
No, not really, because we've got some that we're getting there at 9 o'clock and leaving at 6, and then 8 to 4.
Okay.
I think it just depends on, you know, the time in between. Because when we hit Tokyo, leaving there that night. It's not going to take that long to get to the next one, which is Amori or something like that. Kushiro. I don't know how to say them. I think those will follow Tokyo. So we're already on that east side, and it'll be a short distance. So they let us spend a little bit longer in the port there. But when we were at Puerto Rico, we were there probably 9 hours, 10 hours when we went out of South Carolina. So
Okay.
do definitely, if you're going to do something, like one of the transatlantic or transpacific, hopefully you like sea days, because it was, we're going to have 5 sea days when we leave Brisbane before we hit, or is it 3 before we hit Guam? And then it's like a day from Guam, we'll have a sea day to the next port, and then a full sea day to the next port. So it's like port, sea day, port, sea day, port, sea day. And then it's like 5 or 6 sea days until we get to Alaska and hit the first port there. So
yeah, Will from Together We Travel in the chat here. He just did a northern cruise to Greenland and all them, and he had like 6 or 7 days right off the bat, sea days.
Yep.
So
Together We Travel. If you could hashtag, I think you're in my chat, hashtag Nation, so that way they can go check those vlogs out. At least subscribe and see your channel, because y'all do a lot of really neat cruises as well. And I think, if somebody's interested in this topic tonight, you are another channel I would recommend. You, Warmstrong Adventures, and there's a few others. Scott McNeil, and them I would recommend to go check out, because they've done these these trips. I said hello to Scott McNeil. Hi, James Katniss. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Jess Cody. I hope you're doing well. Destination Fun, Sherry. I think I said hello to you, but just in case I didn't, hey, friend. And I saw a question in the chat. Just want to make sure I said hello. James, thank you so much. I appreciate you for running the playlist. We are making strides in our watch hours, and I know y'all are probably, ready for us to celebrate, since we are too. So just, thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Just know I really appreciate you. And let's see, I saw a question. It was Rob, I thought.
Yep.
On my transatlantic last year, we started with 8 straight sea days. That was going to be one of my questions, but I saw Rob had a question. Okay, question for the panel. If you could only travel one way from now on, what would it be? Car, land, air, cruise, one way only, and that's it. Mike, do you want to lead off with that question?
I mean, I'd probably say cruise, just because you can pretty much get everywhere. Oh, well, it says car. I mean, I kind of need a car to get to the port, but other than that, cruising, yeah.
If I could only travel one way only, it would be cruising for me as well. I do not like flying. I will do it to get where I'm going, because, Vegas is 24 hours away, I believe, for me in a car. That just, no. Boston, is a 5-hour flight. But it's another thing that holds me back on these, longer cruises, is I hate being on an airplane. I would love to just be able to cruise long distance, go visit, and maybe try to catch a cruise back just to avoid flying. I'm a little bit of a bigger person, and so being kind of tight in an airplane just kind of, it's not really something I want to do. And then too, I've got Andrew, and then which he's fine. He just wants to sleep and listen to music and watch movies. But then I have Chloe, who wants to do her thing. So I will say the one that's definitely out is air for me. Like Clark said, you have to have a car to get to the cruise port, but definitely cruising would be the way for me. What about you, Lisa and Tony?
I think it would definitely be cruising. Yeah. Just because, you're able to get up and walk around, the food's there, your bed's there, you meet a bunch of other people in the process. I mean, there's just so much more, and you get to go to different ports. As like our daughter, she would rather go spend a weekend at Disney, and I don't know how much she ends up spending.
Mhm.
You know, by the time you throw in the food package, the hotel package, the parking, I want to say it was like $3,000 or $4,000 just for a weekend for her and her husband.
That was our discussion this morning, talking about the Disney Treasure. You know, it's $10,000 for the inaugural for a 7-day. It's
Wow.
Disney.
Oh, wow.
That's expensive. But I was like, you probably should know how much we spend. Maybe not Clock. Clock's got it figured out. I think if you're not following Clock, please subscribe to him too, because he has some tips and tricks on how to save money at Disney. And he has it. He's been telling me like, no, you need to do this. So definitely Clock. I think your channel's dropping. If it's not, if you want to hashtag nation,
I'll hit it again.
yeah. But for us, when we went to Disney for 8 days, I think we spent about $8,000. So to me, when I heard Disney Treasure was only $10,000, I was like, well, that's really not that bad. But I know others are going to highly disagree with me, and I understand. But I mean, it's also what you like. I mean, I know Kelly is a fanatic for Disney and always has been, and that's what makes her happy. I get it. You know, I get that too.
Well, they're
love
actually
it.
looking at going on a cruise, but they want to make it a Disney cruise, which
I found one out of Galveston today for $1,800 for 3 people. Just so you
oh
know.
wow,
Nice.
It's in.
How long a cruise was that though?
I think it was only 5 days, but it was to Progresso and Cozumel. So, but I thought, you know, just for the experience, I mean, it might, for the Disney experience, those ports I would not mind staying on the ship for. Just being honest.
I still have never been to Progresso.
We haven't either.
yeah.
I haven't been in a long time. It's been probably 10, 15 years. But when we went, it was a little rough, kind of like Costa Maya. Like, you know, it's got a really long pier that you have to take a bus. At least I remember. If I'm wrong, please correct me in chat. But I believe that you get there's a really long pier you have to take like a bus into, and then at the time they made us go through this like marketplace. It's like a maze you have to go through, kind of like Cozumel, but not near as nice and like more like a tent city type thing. At least when we were there, and it was pretty sketchy. So, but I again, that's been probably 15 years. So, Scott says you're not missing anything. Okay, thanks, Scott. I mean, so I think when I looked at that cruise, I thought, oh, that would be a Disney opportunity. Chloe will be 5, you know, Disney princess age, and but it's on the Magic, which is an older ship, but that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But
That was our
I
very
think a
first
Disney
one.
ship.
what
I was saying, I think a Disney ship would be pretty cool to just stay on for the day too. I think they'd probably have a lot of stuff for you to do, or at least just go around and look at the ship.
I do too.
Okay.
I think I would just have fun just looking at the. I mean, when Disney does something, they do it right. I believe, like, you know, the hidden Mickeys. I mean, I could spend all day just looking for hidden Mickeys at places. I like seeing the etching and stuff, and the little hidden details. I personally find interesting, and I could spend probably all day just looking at that. But at least
I mean, that's why when we go to Florida, like I said, I have several ways to save money when you go down to Disney, because we'll go to like Boardwalk. We'll do all the resort hopping. So we'll go to Boardwalk, and they have street performers there at night. So then you get to see different like magicians and jugglers and different acts like that. And you get to walk through the different resorts and see how they are. And it doesn't cost anything. So you do that. And then I go to several of different resorts throughout the time that I'm there. If you go around Christmas time, they have these big gingerbread houses that they make at different resorts. So you can go look at those things. Plus, they're decorated for Christmas. They have humongous Christmas trees up. And it's just nice to see. And so my thing is just trying to find different things you can do in Disney that won't really cost you all that much and make a whole week out of it. Or, I mean, I've done 10, we normally get out for 10 days and we're always busy. And
right.
I've never spent I don't think I've ever spent $4,000 at Disney,
See,
and that's buying our tickets.
see, we did it. We did all the things too. That we did all the expensive reservation. We did all the things. But I think moving forward, we've done all the things now once, marked it off the list, experienced it. I think unless it's something Chloe really wants to do, I think Andrew's gonna be okay if we skip like the princess, dinner. Maybe not. I don't know. And then I wanted to take this opportunity too to highlight our friend Destination Fun. I know she's right here in chat. Every Saturday morning, she she has a live. I believe it's 9:30 Eastern time. Yes, because it's 8:30 for me. 9:30 Eastern time every Saturday morning, and she has Disney topics, and she is in Florida, so she sometimes will go live at Epcot for the food festivals, and I know this morning she booked her day to go see the new Moana area in Epcot and stuff. So just want to give her a shout out real quick while we're on the Disney topic. She does cruising as well, a lot of fun things, but Destination Fun is our friend Sherry. I definitely want to highlight her as well. Lisa, I think I kind of cut you off a second ago, and I didn't mean to be rude if I was.
No, you're fine. I don't remember what it was at this point. It's fine.
You're good. You're good.
Too much heat today again. Yeah, I watched one of her videos on the food festival the other day, and I was like, oh, that looks good. And she was trying a couple of different, I think it was a milkshake, green milkshake, and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And I'm nervous because Kelly was, when the one time we did go to Disney with her, she was like, ooh, try this drink. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't drink anything at Disney anymore. Because it was the round area with all the multiple drinks, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, and then you've got like the blue and green floral tasting milk and in Hollywood Studios at Star Wars area and Batu. So yeah, it's definitely, you got to be careful with Disney's drinks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think she did a pickle milkshake.
Yeah. So Sherry, I know you're a mod, and I saw that you said thank you. If you want to drop that video, just because we've highlighted it, of you trying the different foods at the festival, feel free to. So back, James says that they Cindy does not like to fly. It's driving for us to cruise. Yes. So I'm glad everybody's kind of in agreement with us. Bama Nola, I hope you're doing well tonight.
Hey, Bama.
Thanks for stopping in.
Bama, I have to say, that's the nicest intro I've ever had from you.
You're slacking, Bama. Maybe he had one of his kids type it in.
Yeah.
Bama's another channel that we love. He's very supportive of us. He's done just nice things, and he's always like, go get Chloe an ice cream and stuff. So highly recommend him as well. And he needs watch hours and subscribers too. Great channel, Bama. If you're not driving, please #Nation. And we're going to kind of get on a Disney topic here. Dave hasn't been to Disney since 1979. He was 8 years old. Yeah. I hadn't been until we had Chloe. I hadn't been since I was like 14, 13, somewhere in there. And I will tell you, like, I was like the biggest baby. I walked into Magic. I was so excited for the trip. I mean, Chloe was just a few weeks shy of being 1 when we went back. Our cruise had gotten canceled on the Vista, and we had, like, it seemed like every vacation we tried to book at that point in 2021, it was being canceled due to outbreaks. So we got a extended weekend at Disney, like flew in on Thursday, flew out Monday type thing. And when we walked into Magic Kingdom, I still felt that nostalgia I did as a kid. And like when I turned that corner and saw the castle, I was like ugly crying, like, and just seeing, I had Chloe dressed up in a Cinderella outfit, and Andrew was like, why are you crying? Like, he did not, like, he was just like, why are you crying? And I was like, we did it. We're here. And he was like, I thought this trip was for Chloe. I'm like, it was. And he was like, okay, like, please stop crying. Like, he's like, go walk over there, cut Chloe. But anyways, but yeah, I still feel that nostalgia when I go. So back to Journey Cruise. I can squirrel, guys, I promise. So passport, we've got everything else. Now we've got our passports, we've got our visas. You mentioned a lot of sea days, and I've seen that question kind of in chats and in different forums. Like, what do people do on sea days? They kind of ask questions even when it's a 7-day cruise or an 8-day cruise. But how, Clark, it's going to be how would you fill your time? And Lisa and Tony, how did you fill your time during the sea days? We'll start with you, Lisa and Tony.
Well, we took some cards and dice games. We gave me a chance to show her how to play a card game that I learned as a kid called Totox, which is actually, I don't know if it's German or if it's a Czech game, but it's a card game that is really big in the Czech community. But the instructions, when you look at the instructions, they're written in German. So I'm not sure where the game it has Roman numeral cards. The cards are a whole lot different. They almost look like the fortune teller cards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're a little bit different. But it's played a lot like spades. The Roman numerals are trump, and then you have your 4 suits. But the 4 suits they're the same suits, but you have a king, a queen, you have 2 jacks. Anyway, it's gave me a chance to teach her how to play it a little bit. But they also had more cooking different classes that you could go to on the ship. There was some presentations by people that they brought on board. One guy was a stuntman in Hollywood. We'd seen him once before, and he's a real nice guy. They brought a lady on the ship for like 5 or 6 days?
I think she was there 6 days.
6 days. Okay. She held a class on Apple iPhones, how to do different things with Apple iPhones. More informational type stuff, more like cooking classes that you could go to.
Comedy shows. They had comedy shows every night.
And they were constantly at each port, they were switching out the comedy people. So it's not like the only time you were stuck with the same comedy people were maybe on the 5-day treks. But any other time, it was like they would get somebody new. If not the next port, the very next port, they'd swap them out. And so it was a constant new show almost all the time.
Yeah. We would go to the coffee shop every day and get the
Lemon bars.
No. Sudoku,
Sudoku.
that puzzle game, and we'd sit and play that, and I'd stress because I wasn't good at it, and so we do that, and I mean it was just, unfortunately on that particular ship there was not a whole lot else to do. They did have a couple of educational, like one was about space and planets and stuff, and it could have been very interesting, but the presenter,
very dry.
If you watch Big Bang Theory, you would understand. Then the other one, I took pictures of the screens, and it was of spiders and lizards, and they were just talking about all that, and that was very fascinating. So, but in between the shows or the comedy clubs, it was just kind of like we'd walk from one end of the ship to the other, get coffee, kind of sit there for a minute, walk back. It was like, well, do you want to do that now? Let's go play some Yahtzee. And it was a lot of downtime. And probably the third night I got a steak dinner. So that tells you how long I was in the casino. I spent way too much time in the casino, killing time in between on those long treks, and that was just the first 16 days. So,
but they did have a lot to offer. It's just depending on what your interests are. They did have a wide variety of stuff. Like what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, they had someone come on in one of the last ports before Hawaii, and they they taught them the hula. They taught how to make a bracelet with the grass or whatever they call it. I didn't get there in time to get the supplies, so I just kind of watched everybody else do it. But they bring in people from the local areas to kind of teach you about, kind of like they do in Alaska. Somebody to come on and talk about what you're going to see and experience, maybe kind of when you get to that location. And there was 2 ladies that got on. I don't remember what the last one was. Was it Moria or Fiji? Before we got to Hawaii, and they had several classes. So that I had forgotten about that, but that was very interesting. So
they know you're going to be on there for a while, so they try to, unlike the 7-day cruises and stuff like that, not to say that they don't have stuff to do, but you're not going to, at least on the 7-day cruises, you're not at sea for the entire 7 days, and so they don't have to plan near as much, whereas on the longer cruises they know you're going to be there for a while, so they make it a point to give you more to choose from.
That's really interesting. I know my biggest fear would be the casino. It would be very tempting, for 5 or 6 cruise days in a row. So I think that has been a concern of mine. I know I was a little excited when Destination Fun said, hey, I don't think they have it open while you're in Hawaii, because we were going to Hawaii for our 15-day. And I was like, ooh, I'll probably save some money. But I think it's really interesting, because I think about too, like with that, when we did go to Alaska, you said it was like Alaska, they do have like activities that's kind of like, to that culture and that the place you're visiting. So I think that's really cool. That's something I wouldn't have thought about.
They had a naturalist or something that came on and talked about all the different things in Alaska, just the animal life and stuff like that. It was really nice. And as we were going through, I think as we were getting ready to get into the Edward Arm Fjords, because we were supposed to go to Tracy, and it was because there was too much large floating ice, they routed us to another one. And so anyway, this naturist or whatever they called him, that I wasn't sure that was the word I wanted.
It may not be.
Talked about the really cool things, the environment and things like that up there. So the journey cruises are very interesting. And once you guys go back to Alaska and see, and experience that, I know Andrew hasn't been yet, but when you go back, you might have been young enough last time that it was just kind of like, go do something fun instead of listening to them. But it was really cool.
I know. I'm excited for that. Now, Clock, I know, as far as I know, you haven't been on one. So what would you want? What do you think you would do to fill your sea days? Like if you had never, like if you're planning, you've never been on one, like what would you kind of anticipate to fill your sea days?
I mean, I do all the different shows and stuff. So I would hit whatever they had. I do trivias. Then the wife, she'll just read a book somewhere. So she's always content with just reading. And then other things I'll do is like I'll find some place and I'll either try to make some shorts for YouTube, and I'll try to throw them out there as long as I got internet. I normally do, but I don't know how much it would cost for the internet for a 22-day.
A lot.
Yeah, that'd be the thing.
Your best bet would be to get day by day.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I said. I think
then...
Warmstrong said you were allowed to do it day by day, and you didn't have to get the whole cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So try to figure out what days I'm going to do that, and what days I'm just going to hang around, watch the different shows, relax. So I'm content with just laying around the ship somewhere.
That's really cool. Yeah, I know for us we like bingo and we like to do the trivia and stuff as well. We didn't really appreciate the trips of the shows when we were younger, but I think now Andrew and I are starting to appreciate them a little more like that. I think before it was like we felt like we're missing the party, so we were bouncing different places, but now it's kind of like nice to sit and enjoy a show and all that. So that's definitely something we would do. And we have brought Yahtzee and stuff onto the ship as well. And sometimes we play it, sometimes we don't. But there's always a deck of cards and dice in our room bag. I mean, just in case, you know, for the time filler. But and I've seen people who crochet too. This one lady on the Dream, this last cruise we were on, she crocheted ducks. So instead of hiding the rubber ducks and stuff, there was 2 different people who did different things. She would crochet the ducks and she would make them in different colors, and she would either she was hiding them at first, but then she just had a line, you know, like, hey, you know, and people were they were so cool, and she was pretty fast that she would just knock them out. And that was really cool. And then somebody made Lego ducks.
Oh, cool.
The crochet duck lady might be on my cruise on Icon, because somebody posted a video, well, not a video, but some pictures today that they're making their crochet ducks for Icon. Showed some pictures. Let's see if I can find it real quick on the Facebook page.
Yeah, they were really. We didn't get one, but they were really, really cool. And then we had again another guy who made these. I mean, they were like about 5 inches tall, like Lego ducks out of Legos. And I think he had said he was reusing all his kids' Legos and just doing fun things. And I was like, those are some expensive ducks, whoever found those, because those Legos are. But I really wanted to find one of those because I thought they were really cool. Yeah, that's what they look like.
Oh, cute.
I wonder if it's the same lady. Yeah, they're super cute.
Person named Karen Wilker.
You know what? I'm going to go look I really wonder if it's the same person. But it's cool. And those are kind of things too. Like we, you know, that's another activity we like to do on sea days is hide the ducks and look for the ducks. We just find it fun. I mean, although guys, I have to say, the other day I noticed Chloe's bath duck pile kept growing, and I was like, where'd she get that duck? This little girl was going in my office and sneaking out like a duck or 2 a day, and now she's got like 25 bath ducks, and I'm like, I can't obviously go hide those in the ship. They've been in the water. So now I have to reorder on Amazon ducks to hide, and I've got to lock them up. Like I think she found them, and she didn't mean it mean, but she thought they were for her, because usually on the cruise ship we tell that, you know, we hide them in the morning. Andrew goes and hides them while she's asleep because she thinks they're all for her, and then when we find them, we're like, oh, there's you a duck, you know. And so she found a stash of ducks, and I was like, man, like, where is she getting these ducks? And I kept thinking about it, and I was like, and then I was in the office, and I happened to look eye level. I was sitting in the office chair, and I happened to look eye level, and I see my bag like about open this much, and half my ducks are missing. I was like, that's where you got whatever. It made her happy, but I was like, well, obviously not gonna hide ducks that have been in a bath. But so yeah, I was like, parenting fail.
I found some ducks that I ordered for Tony since he likes to dive with sharks. Instead of ducks, they're little gray sharks. So we'll be hiding some shark ducks on the greatest cruise of all time. and I bet there will be one in her mailbox. I'm just saying.
Ooh. I was going to ask if Chloe gets a traveling check duck.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, Clark, you were saying that your wife likes to just find a spot and read. On the Luminosa, there was a library, but there was 7 books in there in one game. So some of the people got to say they would bring books and read them, and when they were done, they would donate them to the library. Yeah. And then other people could go and, you know, check them out, or, you know, read them and replace them, or, you know, take one and leave one of their own and stuff. So that was kind of a neat idea too, that I hadn't heard on the other cruises and stuff.
That's how most of the cruises are. They ask if you want to donate your books.
I didn't know that.
When you're done.
Yeah. I'd never heard that before, and this was what we're fixing. We've done 12 now, so I thought that was kind of cool that people do that and donate. And I thought, I think I have 3 books in my backpack, and I might read a chapter the whole time because there's always something else to go and do.
She'll sit there and read for hours and hours.
Wow. I'd be the
I
one that
can't
was
do it.
laying there in the sun and dropped the book on my face, so.
Yeah.
Same. Hey, Bud Files. I don't know if I said hello to you, but hello.
Hey.
Hello.
And Bama, I saw that you put that you were bit by a snake. I hope you're feeling better. I know you said you were feeling better, but I hope you're still feeling better. And Dave, this was a comment earlier, but he said he hasn't been to Disney. I read that one. Okay, I'm caught up. So I know when we were first talking about, when Andrew and I were trying to help y'all research on this cruise, there was the question about getting off port or not completing the whole cruise and getting off in Hawaii. Y'all didn't want to continue on to Seattle, like another 5 days of sea, and then Seattle. You wanted to stay in Hawaii, use those vacation days, and then fly back home. I know when we first asked the question to Carnival, we've got many answers. When Andrew was their TA, just so y'all know, and when he would call Carnival, we got very different answers. One person said that they would be banned off the cruise ship, and I was like, no, I've seen people do it. And then there was a lot of research, and I know, Lisa, you took some steps. You've even reached out to John Held. I just wanted to see if y'all would share that experience, because I'm sure you're not the only ones who would want to do that.
Right.
And so if you kind of want to share your experience and how that went.
Yeah, that was kind of a nightmare because, like you said, every time we called Carnival, even though the answers varied a little bit, it was basically, no, you can't do that. Otherwise, this may happen or that may happen, or you'll get fined $700 per person unless it's an emergency. And even John said, no, you can't do it unless it's an emergency. But what we found is with the if you go in and look at the passenger, well, then somebody brought up the idea that it was actually up to customs. And so I reached out to the customs CBP. I wrote down, I found the link to their office there in Honolulu, wrote them a letter, an email explaining the situation, asking them if it would be possible to get off. And they responded, yeah, no problem. And we were still being told by Carnival, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. So what we did was that we made reservations for flights from Honolulu back home, as well as hotel reservations in Honolulu, and kept our flight reservations from Seattle home. The day that we got on the Luminosa, dropped our luggage off, went straight to customer service and said, hey, we want to get off in Honolulu. Is that a problem? Nope, not a problem. Everybody, there's a lot of other people are wanting to do the same thing. We just need to get your name and name and cabin number.
Well, that wasn't until later. The first couple of times they were like, oh, we don't know, we'll have to check into it. And then it was finally like, oh yeah, we can do. So it felt like even on the ship they didn't know in the beginning, either that or they just didn't want to say it, because we went back to customer service.
Well, she initially said it wasn't a problem, but they would have to check with the captain.
Right.
It was still
I got a story for you, kind of the same thing. So when we got married, we took a Carnival Pride out of Baltimore. We were supposed to go south to the Caribbean, and that's when Hurricane Martin hit. Well, since Hurricane Martin was getting ready to hit, they sent us north instead of south. So the night of our wedding is when they said, okay, you're no longer going south, you're going north. So we had to hurry up and go home, change all the clothes in our bag because it's all for warm weather. We're going to cold weather. So we get on the ship, and they let people cancel that day. So when we got on the ship, it was about 50% capacity already. Well, we were supposed to go to New York, New Brunswick, Canada, and one other port in Canada. Well, we got to New York City, and the hurricane changed paths. So we got back on the ship. We're sitting there waiting to go to dinner, and they come on the announcement saying, no, we're no longer going to Canada now because the storm has changed paths. We're going to stay here another night, and then we're going to head back towards the bay. Well, half the people that were on the ship with us were from New York City. And they're like, we drove down here for nothing. We took the cruise only because we're going to get to go to Canada as well. And we just decided we'd go ahead and do it. So people were trying to get off the ship. They told you, no, you couldn't get off the ship. You weren't allowed to get off and just go home from here. So they ended up calling the news reporters, and we had the helicopters circling our ship and saying that they were being held against their will on the cruise ship. So finally, the next morning, they came on the announcement and said, if you would like to get off the ship today, you can come down to customer service and fill out a form, and you can get off the ship today. So this is like day 3 or 4 of the cruise on the 7-day. And another half of the ship got off and went to New York City. So we're at like quarter capacity of the ship. So we pretty much run amok on the ship. But it was different watching the helicopters fly overhead and everything else like that, being on the news. So it was pretty funny.
That's wild. And I know Lisa and Tony, y'all, there was discussion too about y'all being held against your will in a way. I think at one point, there was a discussion with, I know we said it to you. I think they can't hold you against your will, So y'all were able to get off in Hawaii though, right?
Right. And that's because of where it wasn't considered a US based cruise. The passenger, if you're ever wanting to get off early on a cruise, the best thing to do would be to go look at the Passenger Vessel Act, and that will explain what the cruise lines are, how they're governed. And with us, every example the reason they gave us didn't apply to that act. And so that's, because it's not a US based cruise. It's not it wasn't a closed loop cruise. It wasn't a cruise for what we mean by a closed loop cruise is that it starts from a US port and winds up at the same US port, or winds up at another US port.
Transitioning from one US port to another US port, you still can't do it without the fine and the thing.
Right, unless it's an emergency.
Right.
Of some kind.
And because we started in Australia and came into the US, that's why it was allowed, because it's open loop. Is that what
it's an open loop cruise, and it was not a US based cruise. It didn't start in the US and wind up in the US.
Right. Well, that's cool.
And so I would recommend that they look into, it's not real a lot of reading on it, but the Passenger Vessel Act. And then if there's still any questions, contact the CBP of the port that you're wanting to get off in, and they'll tell you whether you can do it or not, because they also have a decision on whether you get to or not. And they came back and told us that, you can get off and there wouldn't be any fines.
That's cool.
Because if you do get off and it's one of the situations where it falls under that act, they can fine the ship up to, I think it's like maybe it's somewhere between $700 and $800 per person.
Yeah.
And of course the cruise line will pass that on to you.
Mm-hmm.
When we were on the Dream, in the first, if you go on the 8-day on the Carnival Dream, and this is just my experience, you may have other ships do the same thing, but when you stop in Key West, you're still in the United States, so you technically haven't gone to a foreign port yet. So let's say you're having a great time on Duval Street at Sloppy Joe's and you miss getting back on the ship, you're going to receive that $750 fine. Andrew, my mom, and Chloe went ahead and got back on the ship. It was my birthday. We had a great time, and I was just taken. I didn't want to be back on the ship yet. Like I just didn't, I was sitting if you've been to Key West, there's benches just outside of where you get on and off the ship. You're there. And so I was sitting at the benches and just kind of reflecting on, turning mid-30s and, where my life is going, where it's been and where it's going. And anyways, because the rest of my party got on the ship and I didn't, flagged me. And because everybody in my group was on but me, so it flagged me with Carnival. And so, you know, when they have your picture, right? Well, somebody, I guess one of the security guards recognized they had mentioned my name, had my picture, and they saw me. And so they came up to me and said, "Are you Jennifer Ledford?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Okay, we just want to make sure. We've called your room 3 times. Nobody's answered. And we've called your, I guess, your mother, and nobody's answered." Well, they were at the Lido eating and doing things. And they were like, "We just want to make sure you were okay because your party checked on before you." And I was like, "Oh, didn't know that I didn't know that." And then 2, I was standing there and I was sitting there and I was talking to the customer service lady, and she was just kind of sitting there. So I'm chatty. And so I got to ask her, like, "Do y'all have to wait on people often at this port?" Because I know Cozumel is known for pure runners. There's always pure runners in Cozumel. And so I was asking, she said that it's a toss up between Key West and Cozumel and who has the most pure runners, which I thought was very interesting. And she said that the reason that this one is so much worse is because you haven't left the United States. So anybody who misses the ship in Key West, they're going to get that highest fine. And where if you're in another, it may be a little bit lower. And I thought that was really interesting to know.
Yeah.
So lesson there, get on the ship on time, especially if you're in Key West. Yeah. But it was really interesting to me too, because I had asked her, I said, "Well, do y'all go and pack up the whole room? How much time do y'all normally give?" And that's when she told me it's based on like the ship's decision that, they do a math, they're getting fined, all that. It's really kind of up to the captain at that point. But 2, they were saying that they don't even pack all your stuff. They go get your basic necessities. So like all your clothes and stuff is going to be, if you left out of Galveston, it's going to be waiting for you in Galveston when you get back, when the ship gets back. They're just going to get like your cell phone cords, some of your essentials, like if you have notebook, like your laptop, notebooks, phone chargers, if you're safe for your passports, credit cards, money, and they're going to grab you those things so you can try to get back home. But they're not going to go, and if you're one of those people who move into the cruise ship, they're not going to pack up your room for you. And she said it was awkward one time. These 2 sisters had a real good time, and she was in their room like hacking it up and grabbing their essentials, and they walked in. And so there's a whole security process with that too. And so she kind of, she didn't go into too many details. She probably couldn't, but she was just kind of saying like they have to show what they've touched, and there's like a whole process in that too. And I thought that was very interesting and something I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I'm glad you all got to get off in Hawaii. I'm glad, Clock, you had 25% of your cruise passengers on board. That I've missed those days of empty ships. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary when everything reopened, but it was like, man, I kind of these 100% capacities.
We were lucky enough to have another couple with us. So our best man and maid of honor was just on the ship with us, and they so it wasn't so bad. We at least knew somebody. It was our first cruise, and like I told y'all in other chats and stuff, the show performers were coming in the bars and all at night and singing karaoke with us and doing different things with us because there was no one on the ship. It was pretty cool. It's a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
That is really cool. So I guess my other question is for you, Lisa and Tony, how did you feel when you came home after being on a cruise ship for that long? I know for me, even an 8-day, I feel kind of sad that vacation's over and that I'm back to reality. Since you were on for such an extended time, how did that feel?
Well, because of that ship, as well as the seas were pretty rough the entire time we were on it.
Yeah.
Which anybody knows, you get rough seas, that in itself was not a good time.
Yeah.
And then to be on there for that length of time, we were ready. When we got to Honolulu, we were ready to get off. We were, after spending a few days in Honolulu,
It was sad flying out,
yeah,
going back, coming back home, going back to work. I mean, I enjoy my job, but I definitely could have stayed on vacation.
Right. Yeah. I definitely can understand that.
One thing that
no way.
one thing I thought about when you're talking about flying and, you know, the different things on the, you know, what to expect on the Trans-Pacific cruise. A lot of people were making their flights, and I'm not saying don't use it, just be aware of this, making their flights through the company on that Faster to Fly or whatever it is. Because of the time change, it was really messing them up because we're supposed to get back on the 4th,
Mhm.
3rd or 4th. And because it showed us, and this was something else we had called and asked Carnival, hey, you know, what day are we going to be in this port? Because he was trying to do private dives because, you know, Carnival has stopped diving at that point. And they were like, oh, well, you know, you're going to be here on this date. Well, the page shows, the itinerary shows we're here on this date. So looking at it, and they were booking their flights the day after they arrived instead of the day of. And so they were having to get hotels, expecting to get off the ship, go to the airport and go home. And I had booked ours, and it was booked for the day that, you know, the 4th, that we were actually supposed to get there. And people were really upset because they're like, now I have to get a hotel room after this. No. And it was just a total miscommunication on the time change. So that's something to think about too. And using the program, it went with based on when we go back a day or something like that. And that's why it expected us to be there the day after we were actually getting there. So when they booked it, it was booked for that. I don't think it was anything that was done, you know, maliciously. It was just, there was total confusion on the dates. So just kind of be aware of that too, if you're crossing the date line, whether moving forward or backwards, as to what days you're actually going to be there. Cause I think it changed twice on the itinerary when we were going to be places. And,
And that when we got on the ship and we went to the meeting in the auditorium, the guy said their computers, the mix up is because their computers can't comprehend the loss of day, because we were losing a day. We were crossing the international date line, and so we were actually having to go back a day once we crossed. And he says what it is that our computers can't comprehend repeating the same day twice. And so even though the itinerary that you were given showed that you were getting back in Seattle on the 4th, if you tried to go through the Flight of Fun, they were saying, no, you're not getting back till the 5th. And then
Because it was calculated like the 22.
Yeah, because and it wasn't until we actually crossed the date line that their computers were able to reset and then show the correct days from there on out. So it was kind of a nightmare.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's starting out too. Man, there's so many. It sounds like a horrible trip, but it was very relaxing. So let me just say that it was a very relaxing month. But starting out, when we got to the port, we were delayed getting on the ship because from what we were being told, again, was that everything was going to be Australian until you hit Hawaii, and then it would become American. So we had Coke and Sprite on there, and they would put Pepsi on in Hawaii. They would change out tables or something like that in the casino and add a different table, poker table or something in Hawaii. Everything was going to run off of Australian currency and all that. So the slot machines, if you were putting money in, it would be Australian currency. So the Aussies who boarded were thinking, hey, Aussie money. And then when we got there, they're like, oh no, we're going to go ahead and switch over. And when they decided to go ahead and switch it over, everything to American, one of the things is the Australian cruises, you can't smoke in the casino. And so the Australians that were on there were excited about that for that extended time of no smoking in the casino. When everything switched to be an American cruise, when we, the morning we left, there was smoking in the casino. It messed up their computers, and we stood outside like
3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their new cruise terminal, just so you know, this is right by a dump. And so you had that
Nice
ammonia type smell for hours. So, I mean, and like I said, once we got on, we were like, okay, this is not new. It's new to Carnival, but it's not a new ship. And
didn't even have the whale tail.
Yeah. And we were talking to Bill. There was a big metal lady that's like a decoration, and people would rub her bottom cheek, and it had been rubbed, the coloring was off of it. So we're like, okay, well, this is definitely not new, so it was just lots of little things. And like I said, we learned a lot. And the biggest thing is the time change, not the time change, but the date change. You might, doing something like that, you might book your own flight home. That was a major problem. And, them deciding at the last minute to switch back to American everything. They did have Sprite. We kept that all the way to Hawaii, which I was thankful for. But just the money and the smoking in the casino, people were very upset about that. And there was just, but if those things don't bother you, it was an extremely relaxing.
We definitely experienced a whole lot of stuff that we didn't on any of the other cruises.
Yeah. And we slept a lot too, trying to figure out, and that was one of the things when we got back, is adjusting to, even though it had been that long, adjusting back to current, getting up at 7:30 in the morning instead of going to bed at that, it was just, your whole clock is messed up. And it was just, it was interesting, and something we were like, oh, we're not going to do it again, but here we're doing it again in April. So
I get that.
Go Japan, go to those ports,
So Clark, I know we've talked about doing whenever the itinerary, I know it's not out yet, for 2026 itinerary for Ireland and Scotland and stuff. I was wondering, is there anything that you will maybe have researched? You may not have, and this is kind of on the spot, but is there anything you've researched for those that maybe we should kind of consider?
I have not done that much research yet, only because that cruise will go sometimes out of Amsterdam, and then sometimes out of Southampton. So until I knew exactly where I was going to fly into, I didn't want to do too much into it.
No, I get that too. I was just curious. You know me, Clark. I like to.
I'm last minute on most things.
I know.
Yes.
And I can be. But I just was wondering, because while we're talking, I kind of was like, oh, I wonder if we need to get a visa. And I've never.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
I've never.
I'm not sure what it's going to be.
Anybody in chat? I know y'all been kind of quiet. If you're still here, and you've traveled to, I guess, over the Atlantic, and you've gone to Ireland, Scotland, do you have any experiences?
Going to Ireland, Scotland. Actually, let me pull it up real quick.
Andrew, I think Southampton would be cool, but Andrew was excited about Amsterdam. So.
Well, Amsterdam is fighting, knocking the cruise ships out. They don't want the cruise ships in there anymore.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what Tony was reporting on a couple weeks ago.
I missed that, I guess. That's interesting. I'm excited for that. Well, I'm excited for any cruise. I know when we were looking at the Barcelona one, Spain, Andrew was I don't know. That's a long flight. that's going to be the thing that I'm just most. I mean, I'm going to do it, but for Ireland, Scotland, but that's the thing I'm most anxious about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to long flights just because of the same thing. Like, I don't like being crowded on the plane, and like it seems like every single time I get on a plane, like my number, I don't pay any extra to get on the flight any earlier or anything, and when I get on there, it's like the last couple seats left on the plane, and I get sat next to the nastiest people that just keep elbowing me the whole time I'm on the plane. So, haven't had the most.
I will say that is the best thing about traveling with Chloe is we have to pay for a seat for her, and at least Andrew and I throw up those arms and we just kind of have the room. On the way to Boston, Chloe, she was down on the floor and kind of like, using the seat as a table to play with whatever, and I was just like, oh, thank goodness, because I'm like you, Clock. I would get, and then I'm trying to be cheap, and I'm like, please don't put me in the middle. Please don't put me in the middle. Please, because I'm going to be puttying over into both of your seats. So that's, the thing. I'm just like, that is the best thing about flying with Chloe.
Well, and that was one of the things that, he was like, oh, we go back, let's just do a direct out of Dallas. And I'm like, oh my God, 12 hours on a flight. No, but like I said, we went into, Oakland. So there was, a few hours there. Now, when we got to Honolulu, it was like fly in, run to the next one, and they were already boarding. But I mean, I always do Southwest around here to go anywhere. And so when we were booking, Hawaiian Air was it out of Honolulu or was it out of Oakland? I can't remember. When we got on it, it was like, so when we were booking that, it was like, okay, this meant for your flight. We're like, okay, cool. And then it was like, oh, if you want a seat, it's extra for this. And if you want extra leg room, it's extra for that. And so, I was like, wow. And then, wait a minute, I have to pay for luggage too. So I'm going to fly this far with no luggage. That was totally enlightening for me as well. So
your $200 flight's now $500 flight, or whatever it was, or $8. Yeah. That's what Clock was saying, $6,000 for a flight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I found one of the Iceland. It's called Iceland, Ireland. It's a 15-night cruise. It leaves from Amsterdam, goes to Dover, England, Inverness, Loch-Ness, Scotland, Lerwick, Shetland, Scotland. I'm sorry, I'm butchering these names, I'm sure. Ikari, Iceland, Kajavik, Iceland, Belfast, Northern Ireland, Cork, Ireland, Waterford, Ireland, and back to Amsterdam. So that's one of them.
That's the one Andrew saw, and that's the one he wants.
Yeah.
And that's for right now, right? Not in 26.
That's for 24. Yeah, they haven't released any of the long ones yet.
I'm waiting. Yeah. So if y'all want to, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And Clock's probably going to be setting up a group cruise for that. So
that's what the plan is.
Yeah, and when I know we're way away from announcing anything, but just make sure have your notification bells on, because I'm sure as soon as he has the information, he is going to go live and announce. That's cool, guys. I think that, I really feel like that's really cool. Again, like when I saw those casino offers the other night, I was in bed and I was like looking at the different extended journeys and like, how can I do this? But then, like I said, all these questions ran through my head. Like, what about the house? What about the pets? What about the flight? What about, what about how much money should I take?
Right.
Currency. So this was, I thought this was really interesting. Hey, Will G, I hope you're doing well.
Hey,
what's going on?
I hope you had a wonderful night.
And one of the things that we didn't consider either was that I guess the food on the ships are a lot different too, because I guess the ships here in the U.S. they have to buy everything from the U.S. They can't go to another port and get it cheaper. But the cruise ship, like out of Austria, the meat texture, Australia, the meat texture and even the flavoring was a whole lot different. And it was suggested that possibly because they don't process their meat the same way we do. And I mean,
Probably healthier and authentic.
it was like that all the way to Honolulu.
Interesting. Did
Was
they
it any
have?
better or worse, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Mm. The deli was really good.
Yeah, we ate mainly at the deli. The hamburgers,
Except there
Man,
was
not
no
so much.
flavor. I
Yeah.
mean, there was.
I think Bill said the same thing.
I've never had a piece of hamburger meat that didn't have flavor to it, and I don't know that it was seasonings, but I don't know.
well, even when you dressed it up, it was still like just no flavor.
No.
So can
Yeah.
you bring your own season, like lemon pepper seasoning in your bag with you? And I mean, I wonder if that's a customs thing.
Well, maybe if you buy it there, I don't know. You have to be careful what you bring into some of the countries because they were saying you couldn't have, and they, like coming out of California, they stop you, or out of Oregon, I guess, coming into California, they said, do you have any oranges? Or did you bring any of this? Did you bring? And we had to declare anything that we brought. I mean, if you bring a package of peanut M&Ms, you have to declare it. And, it was, so I guess if you go to one of the shops there, maybe, because there was a grocery store attached to the hotel we were staying in. And something else, you apparently cannot take wine onto the cruise ship out of Australia like you can out of Galveston.
Interesting.
So, we were going to go pick up some stuff, but if you picked it up at there and took it on the ship, we didn't have any declarations on the ship per se, so it might be okay as long as it's not glass, but yeah, it's just
That's interesting.
the mashed potatoes were really good. I ended up with a tooth issue, so one night I had double mashed potatoes, and that was my dinner. Those were pretty good. But yeah, it's just the salt and pepper just didn't do it.
Did they have chicken nuggets and French fries? Because Chloe's gonna need that, and I know some of my friends have kid menu preferences.
I'm sure they did.
Well, so you were supposed to be able to get French fries at the deli. They didn't have any. So you'd have to go to the hamburger place and get fries, come back, get in line again at the deli. The hot ham and Swiss was very decent, was very good. And then the pizza on there was probably better than I've had. I'm not a big pizza fan. So to me, their pizza was better, but they had on the menu, it was like pineapple and ham or something like that. And when you got up there, they're like, oh, we don't have that on this cruise. What? It's on your menu. And they're like, yeah, no. So people were going to the buffet, getting stuff over there, bringing it to the pizza place and go, here, I want this kind of pizza, put this stuff on it. And they're like, okay. And they just, build up their little pizza for them, stick it in the oven, pull it out and go, here you go. And I was like, let's go get some pineapple and some ham,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's just,
But we did have what's that other stuff that we were going to share with Bill and then never saw him.
oh yeah, we talked about the Vegemite last night. Yeah. That's really funny.
Did you all
guess I
like
did.
Vegemite?
Huh?
Did you all like the Vegemite?
I didn't try it.
I didn't care
Okay.
for it, but it's possible that maybe I was putting it on too thick. I mean,
Oh,
I think the second time I tried it, that I did put just a little bit and then put a ton of butter on it. Like they said, they said, oh, we'll just put it on real thin and then put butter over it, and that'll be really good. I thought I did that. I still didn't like it. So
I have never met anybody that actually likes it. Sean from Down Under Cruisers said it's nasty too. He said you got to put the thinnest layer ever, even to eat it.
Have
It
you
kind
tried
of
it?
reminds me of anchovies. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever eaten anchovies on a pizza,
No.
how salty they are.
Not on purpose.
No.
That kind of reminds me of that, but it also kind of like the texture of Cheese Whiz,
Mhm.
Oh,
like a really salty Cheese Whiz.
But tell Jennifer how good it is because I have a souvenir jar just for her and Andrew to try.
I know we're gonna try it on the Jubilee, and I'm gonna film Andrew doing it. I think that would be a fun short. Let me
Yeah.
know in chat, and you guys let me know. Don't y'all think that'd be fun? Chat for him to short or something for him to do.
You should do a couple people. You should get some of the other people that are on there, some of the other
Cruise
channels.
Vet. Oh, Naughty Cruiser, Cruise Vet.
Yeah.
Scott McNeil, if you're still
Yeah.
here.
I think the jar's
I
big
know-
enough. It's like this, so.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of fun. I wonder if they'll do it. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
And have somebody film somebody just taking a little glob out of there and eating it straight.
I kind of want to give it to Chloe and see her reaction too.
She would
Yeah.
probably love it.
She probably would.
You wouldn't know any different.
She likes
it's Michael
the weirdest
Jackson.
stuff.
My
She
son told my daughter that the wasabi was green pudding,
Oh
and she
no!
took a big
no.
big spoon of it.
Oh no! Like a spat. Like
I got a video of that.
Scott said he's tried it before. Okay, Scott, are you in or out? We've never tried it, so we told Lisa and Tony we would try it. And I'm sure Cruise Vet would. I'm sure he would try it.
Yeah, if he hasn't already had it, since
Yeah,
him being in the Navy and all, he may have
yeah.
Mhm.
had it somewhere on his travels.
Well, it may just be me and Andrew. That's I think that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
I made the mistake eating that. We went to some deal where they handed out, was it sushi or?
Yeah, they brought around, it was a cooking demonstration and they were showing how they made some of the sushi plates and stuff. And after they finished one dish, they'd bring it out and let everybody have a sample. Well, I don't eat sushi, so I was like, oh, here you go.
Well, I had this little glob of green stuff on there. He didn't bother to tell anybody what was on it.
Yeah.
What was, and I just,
You just used your fork, didn't you?
yeah, I just picked up the fork and ate it. And I ended up having, I mean, that stuff was so hot
Mm-hmm.
that it was literally making me sick.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why
even
you-
though it had quit burning in my mouth and everything, it was so strong, or I don't know what, it was making me sick. So I told her, I said, I'll be back in the room and drink lots of water. And
Mm-mm.
You get milk or something like that.
Yeah, milk helps it if you're hot easily.
finally got it to go away, but yeah, it
Mm.
was bad and it lasted for a while.
A couple hours, he was down and out. So.
Oh no! Scott said he's definitely out. Scott, do you think Naughty would try it? He's probably already done it too. He's kind of more of a wasabi. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that'd be fun. Well, cool. I know. I don't know. I definitely want to look into Out of the Caribbean. But also, guys, I'm so all over the place. I also was looking at Caribbean today too. I'm like, hey Breeze, how you doing? You got any Thanksgiving cruises? I feel like that Dave Chappelle meme, like, you got any 4-day for me out of Galveston?
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd go back. I don't know that I would go on another Thanksgiving Day cruise.
Yeah. I've heard that, I know we've talked about it before. The food's just not that good, but
It wasn't the food; it was the kids.
No, it was the dressing.
Well, I have one. She's gonna be.
Well, the one that we went on, we had kids running up and down the hallway, knocking on doors. They were destroying stuff. They actually, at one point, the kids just trashed one of the elevators so bad that they had to shut it down.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've heard other people talk about it. I know there's other channels that go on rants about how they don't like cruising with kids and stuff.
our Alaska cruise, we had like 40 kids on there, and I saw one the whole 7 days. I mean, there was nothing, no destruction, no damage.
Yeah.
And, I like kids and everything, even though I talked smack about them earlier, it was just too hot for all those little ones. But, kids don't bother me as long as they're well behaved. And those were just not, they were not.
Even being a parent and having, I mean, both of you on the panel have heard my child screaming while I'm trying to talk. Mike got to hear it today, and I was like, sorry, trying to mute. Even being a parent, I still have not the highest tolerance for kids just doing whatever. I mean, I'll just be honest with that. But, I don't know. I think Thanksgiving, just me and Andrew's going to have to work. I think just maybe if she and I. Okay, so the real thing is, I'll be honest. The thing is I'm 8 days from being platinum, but the Jubilee is only 7. So I need a small cruise. I could be platinum. Although I did kind of think about me, Chloe, and Andrew will all be gold. If I don't, me, Andrew, and Chloe will all be gold on the Jubilee, and that would be kind of cool because it's probably the only time that ever happened. So there's that too.
Yeah.
But, anyways. Well,
I don't think there's going to be, other than like the laundry. I don't think there will be early boarding, and that was one of the things with the one in Brisbane. There were so many platinum and diamonds on board, they couldn't do the early dining and was that the first one we did the platinum party on or something? And it was just like, it had always been talked up, and it was the room that we were in was just packed. And so it was just like, all right, well, and so
didn't seem very special because everybody was in there.
Everybody, yeah. That's my luck, guys. Finally make it to the club, and it's like, well, you're last. Welcome. Now, my mom's been platinum for a long time. She's probably real close to diamond, to be honest. And she, I've gone with her to the platinum party, and it used to be, I mean, of course, this is years ago. It used to be, a thing. She doesn't even go now. She's like, I get free drinks in the casino or wherever. She's like, I'm not gonna go for the free drinks and hear the captain speak. She didn't even go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still want the opportunity. I just want to be one of the cool kids, guys.
So does Carnival do anything for you as far as the Royal? After you hit 140 days sailing, I think you get these crystal blocks of the ship that you're on when you hit the 140, and then every 70 from then on you get the crystal block of whatever ship you're on when you hit the 70.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
No, they don't do anything like that. You get a little pin.
I got you.
And right now, the platinum gift is fanny packs with the Carnival logo on it.
So I don't know if they give anything for Pinnacle members every cruise or not. I'm 20 days away from a diamond. I'm waiting for that because then I get like 4 free drinks a day, which 4 free drinks for me is enough because I don't drink at all anyway.
No.
Here's the awesome pin that you get.
Now, is that for everybody, no matter what rank you're at?
You have to be gold and up.
Yeah.
So gold is how many days?
25.
Okay.
And then platinum and diamond stuff, they have a different pen. Like my mom's was different than ours. But
okay.
She got so she used to get those slap koozies, and she would give, like, she gives them away with whoever she's cruising with, or Chloe. And then, so she felt like the fanny pack was kind of a step up from that.
Mm-hmm.
But Chloe ended up using her, I guess they call it a neck. What do they call it? A neck, not a neck. I'm sorry, a waist, whatever they call them now. It's not
bum bag.
Yeah, something like that. And so, anyways, well, Chloe really wanted it, and my mom was like, "Oh, I guess." I was like, "No, Chloe, don't need it. Leave it with grandma. But it was okay. It was cool. But no, that's cool. I didn't know that about Royal.
Yeah. So they used to be clear with the ship etched into it, so you could see through it, and the ship's etched into it. But now it's actually a picture of the ship inside the crystal.
Do you have one, or?
I do not yet. No, I think your first one you get it like 120 or 140 days, and then it's every 70 days after that. Every 70 days sailing. So I mean,
that is cool.
you got to sail a lot, but
starting in 24, I'll have 7 days. So
7.
Woo. Woo-hoo.
I'll have January I'll get 67, and then September I'll have 74 or 73. I'm trying to hit something else before then so that I get my diamond before we get on. I'll get my diamond on the Utopia.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I've mostly cruised Carnival. I know we've kind of probably touched on this topic a bit, but but I really feel like Carnival, I've seen it change through the years, just like all of, most cruisers have. But I'm really excited to see how Royal does things and MSC, like these new, new to us, brands. I think with, MSC kind of being a new entrant in Virgin Voyages and stuff, I think they're kind of shaking it up a little bit. And I think that's really interesting as well. I think in the next few years, it'll be interesting as, Virgin and MSC bring out newer ships, and as NCL is starting to kind of compete. Because before, you didn't even really hear about NCL. I mean, you kind of heard just only, it was either Royal or Carnival. At least I feel like for a long time. And then I was like, who's in NCL? And I mean, of course, it's like 10, 15 years ago. But, and now it's kind of like NCL's right there with them.
So I'm looking forward to going back on Jubilee, going on Jubilee, back to Carnival, because of the food. I think is going to be better than what I've been getting on Royal. Royal's food has really went downhill, and their main dining room menu is terrible. Now, I enjoyed NCL because your drink package is included. I'm not all that much of a drinker, but if I want to drink, I can drink, and I don't have to worry about it. And it makes it easy too, because it's not like, oh, let me have your card, let me have her card. If you go up to the bar, you're allowed to get 2 drinks every time you go up to the bar, and they don't ever worry about it. It's like, okay, like you flash them the card, they go, okay, I'll make the drink for you, and they'll give you 2 drinks. So you can go up and get your wife a drink or your husband a drink. You don't have to worry about getting their cards or anything like that. Say they had to go to the bathroom and you want to get their drinks before we go to a show or whatever, you can do it. You don't have to worry about it.
That's cool. I know too, I was looking at wedding packages on NCL, and I was reading a vlog about it, not a blog, a blog, and they were kind of giving like advice tips if you're planning a wedding through NCL. And one of the things the lady said is because like if you're going to have like a reception or something for the wedding party afterward, that they, the drinks may go to your account. Like if, like, let's say you go and then like you don't have the drink package, so they may charge it to my account, for the whole party. But what they were saying, which is really cool, is like most of the time the drink package is included for most people on the cruise. So a lot of times you're just having to pay that, whatever the rate is for the bartender and the wait staff for that, because you're not being charged for the drinks and like hors d'oeuvres and stuff if you do certain ways, and I thought that was really interesting, because, Carnival would be like, oh, $15 a drink, Jen. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. As I've done some just kind of researching, I thought that was really interesting. They were giving like tips and tricks on that, kind of why NCL is probably a better one to consider for that type of ceremony.
Now, as far as like, so we didn't make it to NCL's private island because of the weather that day. But I will say Royal Caribbean, their drink package works on Coco Cay. So that's something that I think Carnival really needs to work on, because
Yes.
you go on their private island and they're going to charge you for it. And you're sitting there that morning and watching them take all the drinks off the ship that you're on, taking them to the island. You're like, no, those are my drinks right there. I paid for the drink package on the ship, and now you're taking the drinks over there. Now I got to pay for them. That doesn't make any sense.
And then too, they'll get you with that nice little ice chest cooler with the 6 bottles. They'll get you with that. Be surprised. Don't be surprised if it's like $50 to $75 charged to your account when you get one, and because you're sitting in Half Moon and like, I'll just go ahead and drop off that 6-pack and the ice chest, and the little cooler for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it was $75 for 6
I think
beers.
that's what we were charged to for 6
and
beers.
we were just like, are you kidding? Oh my gosh. For the convenience of having it brought to you, I was like, and we don't drink a lot of beer. So it really was sticker shock for us.
Well,
I agree.
Don't feel bad about drinks. So I know this is off topic. I went to Vegas the last 2 years, and the first years we went to Circa. That's the new casino down on the in the old Fremont area, and they have this big stadium swim thing up on the roof where it's rooftop swimming pools and then big screens where you can watch football games and stuff. Well, I didn't drink. I said, "Hey, let me get a Coke." She said, "Okay." Well, it comes out and it's like a 32-ounce cup or whatever. And I say, "Okay, well, how much is this?" "Oh, I'm not real sure. I'll let you know." Well, then she comes back. She said, "Oh, yeah, I meant to ask. I'm not sure." So I get my second one. So I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to get one more. How much is it?" She said, "Well, I still got to look on that." Well, that night when I got my bill, the 32-ounce drinks were $36 a piece. 32-ounce drinks were $36 a piece. And that's Cokes.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I said, so you're telling me that the 6 buckets of beer, the six beers in a bucket that were $36 cost the same amount as my cup of soda? Said, that's promoting drinking. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, you're better off drinking alcohol than drinking soda. And I went around the whole thing with them, and finally they knocked 2 of them off, because actually they charged me for 4 of them. I only drank 3 of them. And so I was like, that's crazy, because I got a bill. You have to pay for your chair for the day, which your chair is like $130, but the $130 goes towards food and drinks for the day. Well, of course, everything's jacked up in price. I got a chicken tender platter with French fries, and then I got my 3 drinks. And then my bill at the end of the night was almost another $50 on top of the $130. So I'm like, no. So finally, the manager came out there. I told him what the deal was, and they knocked off the rest of the money. So I didn't have to pay anything, but still, it was $130 for that.
I would have been mad.
Oh, yeah. I said, never again will I go to that place. So
I would have been mad.
Yep.
I think they do that on purpose. It's like, because they don't want you mad at them then, and then it's like, I'm gonna find out when I look at my bill.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm not drinking.
They have some sort of non-alcohol tax in Vegas, bar tax, and it was like $4 a drink or some crap.
For non-alcoholic?
Yeah, because you didn't get an alcoholic drink.
They want you. Well, they want you kind of, feeling good, so you don't mind when you put that extra 20 or
money.
50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading about when the steak dinners were like $7 for a very nice steak dinner and all that, and then it was what?
Only place that has that now.
For a buffet, huh?
Only place that has that now is one of the places down on Fremont Street. I think it is the Fremont, or it. Yeah, it doesn't look the most appetizing on the picture. It's like
it's not anymore.
$7.99, $9.99, something like that.
It's not anymore. We did that. Remember, we did that for Tony's birthday or something down there. We went to the Fremont. It says Fremont. I think it's Steak and Ale, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was food, and it was much, But Dunkin' Donuts right in the same hotel was also good.
Mm-hmm.
Just say that.
That's where I was getting my caffeine at night when I was going down there.
Oh, I should have got me a coffee tonight.
Oh, I'm half asleep now.
Yeah.
Me getting up at 3:30 in the morning, like it's hard.
I don't do it.
Well,
I don't know.
So Monday I had to get up at 2, or excuse me, Tuesday I had to get up at 2. Then Wednesday and Thursday I had to get up at 3:30, and then yesterday wasn't so bad, but it's just it gets to me by the end of the week.
That's Andrew too. His schedule rotates, and so he's been on the 7 to 4 shift this week, and he's having to get up at 5:20 or whatever to get ready, leave and all that. And he's like, tonight he was telling me, he's like, it's kicking my butt. Well, then next week he'll switch to 3 to midnight, so he'll have Monday and Tuesday off, and then he'll be 3 to midnight for a week, and then he'll switch again, and he hates it. And I was like, we could be like clock getting up at, I actually said it to him. I'm like, it could be like clock getting up at 3 in the morning.
So I'd much rather 3 to midnight. I'd much rather work nights than days.
He does too.
It's something about getting up in the morning that I just can't handle it.
I like him working the 7 to 4 because he's home when I'm getting off work, and we can do family things.
Yeah.
But and he likes that too. But his sleeping schedule, he prefers the 3 to midnight because he's still rocking and rolling. And then too, he likes it because I've wrestled with Chloe for 2 hours and finally gotten her asleep. And so he walks in the door and he's like, "Oh, you're going to bed?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And the kid's asleep?" And he's like, "Well, I guess I'll have to play PlayStation to kind of wind down." I'm like, "Oh, have to, huh?"
Yeah.
Well, Thursday I got up at 4 and then realized I didn't have to be up quite so early. So I sat in the chair and tried to go to sleep for about 30 minutes. And I have been dragging ever since. Normally it's 7:30 when I get up, but that one I had a 3-hour drive and then a 6-hour class and 3 hours back home after going out an hour and a half, 2 hours the day before for a class and then coming back. And yesterday I was just kind of sat at the desk and was like, ugh.
Yeah. Driving kills you. That's my main thing is I'm an electrician, and our jurisdiction is Maryland, DC, Virginia. So my normal drive to work is an hour and a half each way. Wow. So I deal with that crap every day. Now the one I'm on right now is Dahlgren Naval Base, which is only about an hour. It's about an hour and 5 minutes. So it's not so bad, but it's different.
Yeah. Now, Clock, do you have a hard time waking up when it's travel day? Like if you've got a 7 a.m. flight?
I have a hard time getting up only for the simple fact that I had a hard time going to bed the night before. Because most of the time I can't fall asleep.
Because you're excited?
Yeah.
Me too.
You're ready to go. You're excited, and then you're also worried oh, did I forget to pack something? What did I forget? What did I forget? Let me run through everything in my head a million times before I fall asleep.
I'm the same way. But, well, I don't think I have as hard of a time getting up as Andrew and Chloe and some other people, but I'm the same way when I've got to I just get antsy excited, and then I kind of in the morning. You remember last night, Lisa, you knew I had my coffee, and I was talking really fast. That's how I am on travel morning. And Andrew's like, "Can you just shut up, please? I love you, but please just get your stuff in the car and just give me 5 minutes. I love you, but." And I'm like, oh, and I get all excited and stuff. So I'm a morning person. He is not. What about you, Lisa and Tony? Do y'all spring right up the morning of your?
No.
I do.
You do?
Never. He's over. Get up. We gotta go. Get up. No, 5 more minutes. We're good. And yeah, we Yeah.
I'm kind of like in the middle there. Like, I'll get up right away. I don't have no problem getting up. But like you were saying, people being chipper and like wanting to rush you and do things, I'm like, no, just shh. Just calm down.
I'm not chipper, but I
Yeah.
definitely get up and get going.
Yeah.
What about Ricky? Is she?
So when we're going on vacation, she doesn't mind it. Now, if we're going to a theme park, then she's like, we don't have to be there this early. I'm like, yeah, we do. We need to be there when it opens. We actually need to be there an hour before it opens so that we're in front of all the people that are waiting to be the ones first in line. So she doesn't like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Opposites attract, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chloe, poor girl. She is not a morning person at all. Like, even this morning, you heard her. She was just whiny and just, she was happier than most mornings. Like, getting her up for school. I mean, I'll be like, Chloe, wake up. And she I'm like literally like having to drag her because she's trying to crawl back under the blanket. And then I try to brush her hair while she's still like mostly asleep because, the hands are a little slower. But it's just, I mean, every morning it's a fight with her. And I was like, Andrew, this is you. Like,
yeah.
Me, I'm up. I'm ready to go.
My daughters are complete opposites. So my middle child, she wants to sleep in every day and stay up all night. And it's a pain to get her out of bed for school, for anything. She's always a pain. I got to go in there. I got to turn the light on. I got to pull the covers off of her, all kinds of stuff. Now, my youngest, she, when she was a baby, her crib was in our room. Well, when I'd get up for work in the morning, she'd get up for work. She'd get up in the morning, same time I would. Well, that pretty much carried on throughout her whole life. So, like, she would get up at 6 a.m. every morning, whether she had to be like Saturdays and Sundays and everything else. So she'll get up and go out and watch TV or whatever. And like, there's been times where she spent the night over a friend's house, and we're like, look, she's going to get up early tomorrow morning. They're like, oh, no, it's fine. Well, like, she wakes up and like my friend's asleep, and he opens up his eyes, and my daughter's standing like right in his face saying, Cosmo, what's for breakfast? And he's like, there's a Pop-Tart on the counter.
That's so funny.
And it's like, he said, so from now on, every time she spends the night over there, she puts out the box. He put out the box of Pop-Tarts and say, this is what you got right here. Do not disturb.
That's so funny. Your daughter who struggles to get up in the morning, was she like that as a baby as well? Or toddler?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Lisa and Tony, you have two girls as well. Well, so
Angela was the kicker. You pull the sheets and she'd start kicking and stomping and just that stiff, I'm not getting up, and horrible. Kelly is like him, got up and was ready to go. But Angela's like me. We, stay up late at night. I used to work night shift. And so when I do go to sleep, I'm out. And right now we have a Chihuahua that likes to sleep with us, and she'll lean against him and poke me with her feet. And I'm just kind of like, I'm out. And he's such a light sleeper that she just moves and it wakes him up. And I'm like, yeah, he was like, she woke me up at 7 today. And I was like, oh, she did. It was like almost 8:40 before I got up today. I was like, oh, it's a weekend. I don't have to get up.
So me, I'm a light sleeper. So every sound, every move, like Chloe, she still likes to hang out in our room. So every time she's moved, I'm like, it wakes me up. Andrew, a tornado could have hit the house, and he'd like, oh, that something happened.
So I got sleep apnea, so I sleep on the mask at night. So I sleep through anything.
No.
I'm supposed to, but I slept better last night without it. I'm a side sleeper, so it's like that constant airflow.
And luckily I sleep on my back, so I don't have that issue. I can stay I stay laying like pretty much flat all night long. Now, every
Mhm.
once in a while, if I'm not feeling good or I got a body ache or something, I got to roll on my slide floor, then yeah, I got to worry about the damn mask coming on tight.
Yeah.
Well, what gets me about the dog is that she'll change several times throughout the night. She'll start out on top of the covers right next to me. And then usually within a half hour or an hour or so, she'll get up and crawl to the head, walk up to the head of the bed, shake, and then start rooting to get underneath the covers. And as she goes under the covers, it pulls them off. So it wakes me up and I got to pull them back up top. And then she goes down underneath and starts rooting around. And then a little while later, I guess she gets hot or stuffy or whatever. And so she comes back out, does her little shake right next to my ear, which wakes me up, and then crawls on top of it. I mean, it's just constant back and forth all night long.
Well, like Chloe will start out between us, like, towards our head. But every morning when I wake up, she's down at our feet and she's kind of like across us. So like Andrew always gets like her head, but I get her little claws. And like they're always like kneading my leg. I'm like, God, like, I mean, it's like, goodness, Chloe. Anyways, I'm afraid of like in the night just like rolling over and like either kicking her off the bed or like, my foot just like hitting her. And so I'm real, like I said, anytime I move, I'm like, oh, where's Chloe? It's a whole, and we're trying to get her to go back in her room, but she thinks she's moved in.
That's something we never let the kids sleep with us.
We did really well until I guess it's been about a year ago. As a baby, she did the bassinet, and then she went in her crib, and we did so good until she started having the respiratory issues and ending up in the hospital in ICU, PICU. And when she did that kind of back to back in the PICU, like for her breathing, we moved her in our room just because we were so nervous.
Yeah.
The worst mistake we made. Because I would fall asleep because I was just so stressed. I'd fall asleep with my hand on her chest, just so I could feel if she was breathing and stuff, just in case she went into respiratory distress again. It's the worst thing I did because she moved in. And Will G says, same here, Mike. Never let them in your room. Yep, that's where we went wrong. And now I was online this morning looking at Paw Patrol bedding and curtains and going to make a big deal. So maybe
It's something my dad did to wake my brother up. It didn't work on me because I always had a long nightgown, but
her brother's my dad, if y'all didn't know.
He would freeze marbles, and then when Larry wouldn't get up, he would go in there and just raise the sheet and dump that whole bowl of marbles in there. And, marbles, everywhere he moved to try to get away from him, they followed him. And there was these little ice cubes just all over him. And he'd finally get out of bed to get away from the frozen marbles. And my dad did that to him for years. And he finally got to where he would get up. I don't know how he was there.
My dad?
Yeah.
He did that.
Did he get up with me after that?
He didn't really have to do that with me. My dad had a distinct knock, and he would do like a pattern. It wasn't like a cop knock, but he would do like dun 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 dun, type knock or something, and he would just have to do that, and I was up. Now Justin, my brother, yeah, he did the marble thing with him. He would just, because the knock wouldn't work with Justin. But Justin's kind of like, Angela and y'all and Chloe. Like, Justin's a night owl. He wants to stay up all night, and then he's still a night owl to this day. And once he's out, he's out. And my mom and dad would struggle with Justin.
Every morning, like when I wake my kids up, I go and I bust open their door and scream. So, so one of the games one of the games I used to play was Fable, and they had a town crier in it, and he would come through the town and yell, "Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey." So every morning I go and I open up their door and I yell, "Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey."
Oh my
That's awesome.
goodness. When Andrew moved in with us when he was 17, yeah, and we had in our house there in when we lived in DFW area, we had taken our garage and made it into a game room. So we had like a pool table, and it was like this huge extended room, and then we had a detached garage. And anyways, when Andrew moved in, he moved into that area, and he would hear my dad knocking on Justin's door, and Andrew, he doesn't get up early, but he would hear him getting Justin up, and Andrew would be up by the time my dad made his way that way. Because my dad would want to get up early to do whatever project, and since he had two young strapping lads at the house, he would just get them up and they would get started on whatever. And so it was interesting because Andrew's like, yeah, your dad's knock, like he was like, I would hear it, and he was like, I'd be up because I just knew he was headed my way. Today is actually my dad's. He would have been 57, and so I've been thinking about him all day today. Andrew and I were talking about him right before we went live. So, but yeah, it was funny. Like it's definitely interesting because, and my dad would do this too. If we were sleeping, if he couldn't get us up, he'd be like, "Hey, y'all want breakfast?" And we'd be out, and then he would go to like get nice breakfast at like wherever, or IHOP or something, and then we'd be like, "Hey, did you get food or anything?" He's like, "I asked y'all didn't answer."
I do that.
You do that? See,
I do that.
Yeah, like I asked, you didn't answer. What?
When we're on the cruise ship, like we give the kids like one chance, so we always put the kids in another room. So we'll call their room and we'll say, "Hey, we're getting ready to go to breakfast. If y'all want to meet us for breakfast," and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll be down there." Well, I was like, "Well, we're leaving in 10 minutes," so we go down and get a table, and if they're not there by the time we leave, then we're gone, and they just got to fend for themselves. But I mean, they're also 17 and 14.
That's how our parents were when we were teenagers on cruise ships. I wouldn't do that to Chloe. Be like, "Well, sorry, Chloe."
Yeah.
We try to get. Actually, it impresses me what that girl will learn for pizza and ice cream. Like she will learn the ship. I mean, it amazed me. She knew where to go from Camp Ocean to go get pizza. Like she was like, "No, we gotta go this way," and Andrew's like, "No, we need to go wherever," and she's like, "No, pizza's this way." And it's just kind of interesting to me what she'll learn. The other day, she was giving me directions to my mom's house. I pulled out of where we were, and she was like, to go to Meemaw, she knew I needed to turn left, and she doesn't know left and right. Like she tries to say them, but they're in Chloe language. It's like I know it's left and right when she says it, but she was like pointing like Meemaw that way, and it's just kind of crazy to me. Like she's 3.
Have you been on Mardi Gras or Celebration yet?
I haven't. So Jubilee is going to be like my first experience with Excel ship.
Okay. I'm just thinking of ship sizes when you all go on to Utopia. What you've been on so far, because Utopia's a big one.
I know. I was telling Andrew that too. Yeah, because I know Excel's gonna be. I know the Jubilee is gonna be the biggest ship we've been on. Do you know how it compares to Encore? I need to look. I'm sure I can look, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many floors Encore is or anything. Now Jubilee's like 19 floors, isn't it?
It is.
So
it is.
It's actually taller than an Oasis class, but it's not as wide.
Not as wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish, like, I haven't seen the Wonder either that I know of. I wish we could see it to see how massive it is,
Yeah.
because it's the.
Well, if I ever put my video together,
and Icon will be the largest ship, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited for Icon? I know it was a pricey cruise, but are you excited?
well, I don't really think it was all that pricey. Like I said, it was $3,000 for the inaugural for inside, so $1,500 a person. When they when Mike was going to do the inaugural for Utopia, which was only a 3 or 4 day, it was $2,500.
Yeah.
So based off that, I don't think it's all that much. And that and a $10,000 Disney cruise. But yeah, I'm
I
excited.
knew it was coming up.
Oh yeah, it was coming. But the Disney cruise will be fun. I mean, the Icon will be fun. I'm just hoping that the amount of kids on it isn't overwhelming, like the spring break cruise we just took on Oasis. It was kind of not Oasis, Wonder. It was kind of bad.
Right.
So.
Well, and then too, when you look at MSC's like inaugural sailing, I mean that price.
Yeah.
I think it's gone up now, but that World America price, that was such a good. That was cheaper than the Jubilee's inaugural sailing. You know.
Yeah.
That
and you get your drinks and Wi-Fi included.
Yeah. That was. We got a balcony on that one, and I couldn't believe how reasonable MSC is. I'm really excited for them to come to Galveston, NCL and MSC, because I really think we're going to probably go on Carnival a lot less. Unless they send me deals like they did the other night. But, you know, I think we'll probably start, because I kind of, even though I don't drink a whole lot, I still like options. You know, I just like that option. Yeah. I think I don't want to pay $800 for Andrew and I to have the drink package, but I think like the way NCL and MSC does it, like, you know, I guess I don't notice it. I'm sure there's prices built in somewhere, but I don't feel like I notice it as much. And I just like the option of like, if I'm having a day where I'm like, you know, we're on vacay and I want to wake up and have a spiked coffee and then have, you know, mimosa and then a shot, you know, whatever, just whatever.
Yeah. The NCL's drink package, I thought when we got on the ship, it was going to be like, okay, well, your free drink package is really only this right here. But if you want to have like a mixed drink or anything like that, then you're going to have to pay this much more. But it was like, okay, your drink package, it covers anything that's on the menu that's $15 or less. So you open up the menu and everything's $15 or less. They're like, well, this covers everything. They're like, yep. It's like the only thing it doesn't cover is if you want a double shot of something. So if you want the second shot, you have to pay for the second shot to go into that drink.
That's
but other
fair.
than that, it's covered.
To me, I feel like that's fair. I mean,
yeah,
I know, you know, like Lisa, I know you like blue Hawaiians. I like rum punches and I mix it up throughout. But, you know, I like that if it's, you know, $15 and under. But man, paying $15 a drink, that's hard.
I was drinking mango meltdowns.
What is that?
I don't know what is in it, but it tasted good. Naughty Cruiser and Scott McNeil had me on them.
Mango meltdown. Because I like the mocha chocolate getaways and some of those, but that sounds.
I've never had that. It's I was drinking mudslides too, but the when they got me on the mango meltdown, I could drink more of those because the mudslides were like so rich, all the chocolate and everything else like that. But the mango meltdown was like drinking like a kind of like an orange crush or something, but had a little bit different flavor to it.
I've gotten more like the martinis.
Yeah, chocolate martini. That's what I was just thinking about.
Yeah. I had never really tried martinis before, and then when we hit, was it platinum?
Oh.
We started. We get that one drink on the very night at the very end.
Okay.
I was like, oh well, you know, it's free. Let me try see what one of these things tastes like. And so I got the Carnival. It was some sort of Carnival something martini. And while I got that, she went back to the room for something, and
I forgot my
came-
card. I couldn't
yeah.
get my drink.
Yeah, so she went back to the room to get her card and comes back, and I've already finished it, and I'm pretty loopy.
He was drunk
Mm.
off of the
I
wine.
wasn't drunk.
You were
No,
drunk.
it was not. There was only one drink.
It takes a lot less when you don't drink all that often.
Right. Right.
So I'm
I
300
was
pounds.
feeling- I'll admit I was feeling really good, but I don't think I was drunk. Well,
Yeah.
at least not my definition of drunk anyway.
Yeah.
I saw something like that.
I say I haven't seen you like that, and I've seen you drink a lot of stuff, and it was like the end of the night, so I don't know if it was more stout than
Tired
normal.
and
Tired.
Well,
I know with my free drink, that's when I
I
like
tried it, and I didn't care for it because it had too much alcohol in it, and he enjoyed it. Yeah.
see, on this last cruise I was on, we had 26 people in the group, and a lot of them were drinking the chocolate martinis every night after dinner.
Yeah. I like to try. I mean, like, that's where, like, on that free drink on Carnival, that's where I like to try new things. Sometimes, too, in the casino, too. It's like, let me try, like kiss on the lips. Oh, well, let me try Miami Vice now. And then I'm like, well, let me try, let me go ahead and get that rum punch again. I love the fun chip. And then, but I got to be careful with, now that I'm older, I got to be careful with that mixing because it doesn't do as well. But I mean, that's where I like to, like, oh, let me try mojito. Like, I learned I really like mojitos for whatever reason. I think I like the mint. I'm going to be honest with you, the leaf and the drink.
I had one of those in Vegas, and I did not care for it. I did get the Dreamsicle in the casino one night. That was really good. It was like a push pop.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Ooh, like the Flintstone push pops.
Mhm.
You if you know, you know.
Yeah.
No, I remember the Flintstone ones, just the ones that were in like the toilet paper core.
That's what it was.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Okay.
Flintstone ones.
They just had
Yeah,
different characters on different ones.
Yeah. It's like I remember as a kid, like you would go to the ice cream truck would come by and getting like Bugs Bunny and the gum balls in his eyes.
Mhm.
Those are the days. I got one of those not too long ago, and I was like, I can't believe I love these as a kid. They taste awful.
Yeah, and so as a kid, we used to go to Ocean City, with Ocean City, Maryland. That's the big tourist attraction in Maryland, on the beach. And as a kid, we used to go to this place called Paul Revere's, which was a buffet. So we used to love it because they had the ice cream, and we could go up there and do whatever you wanted to. Well, then I went back as an adult, and I'm like, yeah, this food sucks. And I told my sister, she's like, yeah, you liked it because you were a kid and you could go up there and eat the ice cream and put all the toppings on your ice cream and stuff. It's like the food was never any good. It's just, it was cheap, and it was had a lot of different things to eat.
Right.
But yeah, makes sense.
Well, it's like I saw a meme in Facebook or something the other day where it's like you see the wooden spoon, the ones where you get the ice cream and you're like, the taste of that spoon.
Yeah.
Like I loved those as a kid too, and I don't know, my ice cream preferences are, I definitely don't go for the Tweety Bird or Bugs Bunny characters anymore. That's funny. Another thing that I used to love as a kid, and I don't know if we change topics, I guess, but thing I loved as a kid that I don't love anymore. Do you remember that show with the dinosaur and he'd be like, not the mama, not the mama?
Yeah.
I remember loving that show as a kid. I tried to watch it recently. I couldn't get through 10 minutes. I was like, what the heck was I watching?
Yeah. You're funny. Your things that were funny back in the day aren't always as funny anymore. Like I used to think Dumb and Dumber, the movie Dumb and Dumber, was like hilarious, and then I watched it not too long ago. Like that was one of my favorite movies. And then I watched it not too long ago. I was like, yeah, this isn't anywhere near as funny as I thought it was.
Mhm.
Yeah. There was a couple of shows like that where it was like, why did I love that? Like I loved it.
What?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's you like Step Brothers, right? Because I saw you caught the reference the other day. Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew loves that movie. He loves that movie.
I always try to catch different references or try to put references in when I say things and see how many people pick up on stuff.
Yeah. I agree. And I think Andrew does that too, right, Clark? Like you catch him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he I don't know. He's quick too. Sometimes I'm like, what are they talking about? And he's like, he's like, it's not funny because I have to explain it to you now. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I got to do the same thing with my wife.
It's like earlier y'all were talking about Big Bang Theory, and I almost said like, that's my spot.
Oh, that's my wife always gets on me for that because when I sit down in the living room, I have to sit in one spot, and she's like, "Sheldon, that's not your spot."
That's funny. That's funny. Are y'all watching any good TV shows right now?
No.
You
I
do.
haven't watched TV in years.
That's me. I don't even know what we have anymore for channels, honestly. Other than I know we have Nick at Night because I watch. I can tell you that lineup. It's like Friends, and then it's Mike and Molly, and then it's Mom, and then it goes into like SpongeBob, and then Paw Patrol throughout the night. I can tell you that schedule, but outside of that channel, I can't tell you anything that's on. I can't tell you any current TV shows. I can tell you what YouTube channels I recommend, but I can't tell you like the other day I was like, Andrew, Paw Patrol has a movie coming out, and I was like, hey, they said it's gonna be on Paramount Plus. Did we have that? And he's like, yeah. Blah 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 blah. It's on that. And I was like, okay, just need to know if we had it.
Yeah, I haven't had TV in probably at least 5 years.
Like
I just
cable
do
or
cable satellite. I got rid of it all 5 years ago and went straight to just doing streaming services. I mean, I have most all of them. I have Netflix and Disney and Paramount and HBO, which is now Max, I guess. And so, I mean, I'm paying pretty much the same thing as what I would if I had a damn TV, but at least now we can kind of watch whatever the hell we want to watch.
That's true. Well, and that's like us. We were kind of talking about, we get asked a lot, like, how are y'all able to afford to go on this cruise or that? Y'all go on a lot of vacations, and Andrew, he was telling a coworker or something one day. He said, "Well, I don't have all the cable packages or NFL packages and stuff anymore. I cut that down," and then like my vehicle's paid off, and we've tried it and cut where we can, and it's like, it was like, well, instead of me having a brand new, I really want to go get like a brand new SUV type thing, but I'm like, I can't justify the payments, and I'm like, that I can go on like 5 cruises. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's gonna hurt when I actually do have to get a new car.
Same.
Like I haven't really had to deal with a car payment for a long while.
Same. And I work mostly remote. I can't justify having. I was telling Lisa this the other day. I can't justify having a brand new. I really like the brand new vehicles. I've been looking, but I can't justify it to just sit in the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to buy a truck because I don't have it. Like I have not a camper, but I have a trailer out there that every once in a while I'll take like a big load to the landfill and stuff like that. And I just want to be able to haul stuff if I need to go get like any building materials or anything like that. But the price of trucks just shot up so damn much that I just can't justify having one. And
yep.
I mean, really, if I really need to use a truck, my buddy will let me borrow his truck for a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. But it's just for me to buy one, and I got a company van out there now, so I don't have to drive one to work anymore. So for me to buy another vehicle to just sit in the driveway, it's just not worth it. And I had a truck that sat, and when a vehicle sits, it things go wrong with it. The seals mess up and everything else. My turbo went so I had a 2007 Dodge Ram 3500 diesel, and I had company vehicles. So I had it for 9 years and only had 75,000 miles on it, and I bought it a year into it and already had 25,000. So in 8 years, I only put 50,000 miles on the vehicle, and the turbo went in it, the screen went in it, all kinds of different things went in it, and I was barely using the damn thing. So luckily, the with the prices of everything skyrocketing, I was able to sell it to CarMax for what I paid for it 9 years before. So
Wow.
yeah, I had it for 9 years and actually got all the money out that I actually paid for it.
It's good.
I know, like, I have a Ram truck too, and it's starting to have issues, I think, because it sits so much. I think there's a lot of truth to that. When I was driving it a lot, it was fine, but I think, now it's like I forget like I was telling Lisa the other day, I forgot to go start the truck and move it. Like I go, down the road or something, because it just, I think that's what's caused some of the issues on it. But I still can't justify a $600 car payment. I mean, I have a Hemi, a Ram truck with a Hemi, and it's like I went and looked at the prices on that, and they're, 60,000+.
Yep.
I was like, goodness, like, or I can just keep getting mine fixed. Hey, Michaelin, I hope you're doing well.
Hey.
Well, I know we're coming up on the 3-hour mark. I know we've been rambling a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get to bed after that.
Yeah, I know I will too. And is there any closing remarks y'all had?
No, I think we
pretty much covered everything that.
All the trip surprises.
Yeah.
When's y'all's next cruise?
New Year's Eve.
On the Jubilee.
Yeah, we're on the Jubilee.
Okay, so the same one as them. Okay.
Yeah, they're on the.
And then we'll be going on a 31 day.
Yeah, in April.
31 day April.
Gotcha.
That's the one that goes from Brisbane to Guam, and then Okinawa. There's four more stops in Japan.
Hiroshima. I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah. And then it goes on to Alaska, and there's like 4 stops in Alaska.
Okay.
That's gonna be a good trip. I hope.
Yeah.
I know your content will be fun, so I hope you do some fun things. I want to see you.
What kind of you just use a GoPro, right? When you do yours?
Yeah, that's what I have, but my wife recently bought a camcorder.
Yeah, a little bitty thing.
Okay.
Oh.
We don't know yet we've used it 2 or 3 times. We used it at the lake a couple weekends ago, and then I used it today with all the kids. But we haven't downloaded or watched any of it, so I don't know how it looks.
I got you.
When you say camcorder, I still think of that 1980s. Like,
yeah,
it's funny. It's on video. Yeah.
Where's the rest of it?
With the VH tape in it. That's what I think of when you say camcorder. That's all I'm like, camcorder.
So today I've been looking at Insta360s, and the video from dying all on those things, because I don't know if you're familiar with it, not just 360-degree camera, and you have a pole that you take with you. Well, the camera eliminates the pole, so it looks like you're just swimming there. It captures all your surroundings, while you're swimming, and it doesn't look like you have the pole or anything. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Was it pretty reasonable, like price wise?
I don't know about reasonable. I'm trying to justify it for either my birthday or Christmas.
I get that.
I think you can get the base for like $429, and then there's a million different add-ons for you. But it's like, I think part of it's waterproof as it is for like so many feet. But then they have a waterproof case you can take on it, put on it, and take it all the way down diving. But it does like 570, 570p, or yeah, it's higher than 4K. It's like 5K, 5700 or something.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, pretty
That's
cool.
Mike, do you have
Something
a
we're
drone?
looking at. I'm sorry.
What's that?
I was say, do you have a drone?
I do not have a drone.
Okay.
I've thought about getting them. I've played with some cheaper ones, and all I did was wreck them. So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get that. And I found out that through Desert Adventures with Arizona, he told me that in order to, like, if I have a drone and I want to use the footage from the drone, I have to get a license. You got to get a FAA license along with the drone license. So it ends up costing you about like $300, I think, for the one part of the license, and $300 for the drone license. So you're talking like $600.
Oh,
So
wow.
I kind of backed off of that one.
Yeah.
Trying to
Nah,
be-
good point.
yeah.
Well, maybe the next thing we're looking at is a case that we can put his phone in, so he can take that underwater and dive. They have
Yep.
some that are waterproof for what 70, 80 feet, something like that, or there might even be more where he
Yeah,
can
more.
actually use his iPhone down there and filming. That's what
Yeah.
was used on one of the shark videos, I think, and how clear it is. And you know, he has a GoPro, but I mean, the videos are good, but it just seemed like the cell phone video was much more clear.
So the so with a GoPro, when it gets a water bubble or whatever on this lens or whatever, it kind of distorts it. That's the good thing about this 360 is it has a lens over top of the lens, so it can see through the water. Like if there's any kind of bubble or anything like that, it sees through it. So that's what the benefit of that camera is compared to some of the other ones. But I'm not sure exactly why the iPhone shows up better than the GoPro, but it may have something to do with that, putting the lens on it, or when you went with the iPhone before, did you have any kind of cover on it?
That wasn't my iPhone. That was the guy that I was diving with. And
Okay.
yeah, he had a case. It was, I forgot what kind of case they call it, but it's like a $200 or $300 case for the phone.
I got you.
And apparently it varies on which iPhone you have. So if you upgrade your iPhone, you'll have to upgrade the case as well. So we were at Best Buy looking at that here a few weeks ago. And he was like, which one do you have? This one, 13, 14. And I was like, 13, whatever it is. And he was like, oh, okay, then you need this case. And I'm like, really? They're the same. I would think going from a 13 to a 14 would be
Nah,
same
they changed
case,
it up a little bit.
yeah. Well, just the case that it would fit in, and he was like, no, it won't work. And I was
Well, it's just like the
wow.
cases for the GoPro. You have to, and every time they up, I know when we went from the 5 to the 10, we had to buy a new case for it.
Yeah, and they changed the batteries on some of them too.
Yeah. Well, part of the thing with the GoPro is I'm not really sure. I'm not real familiar with underwater photography, so I'm just learning how to do that. And I've got a program now where I can actually edit. I've got the audio director or power director that I can go in and actually alter or edit the coloring and stuff like that. I just have
Okay.
to know how to set it. And I just got the lights, a bracket to put the GoPro in. I've got a case for it that'll take it down to about 200 feet. But down there, you need lights because you start after so many feet, you start losing the different colors. And the lights that I've got will hopefully bring it back.
Okay.
So
Michael
it's-
says most of videos are shot in Android. They're much more clear than the video camera. I know
Mhm.
Andrew is an Android person, and we both use Android, and I don't know. I feel like my settings must be off because I feel like sometimes my videos sometimes they're really awesome, and sometimes they're not. And I think it could be me playing with things, but I do think that it's crazy how good this cell phones do now. I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
I know a lot of channels when they're starting out, we advise them like, don't go rush out to go buy all the equipment. Your cell phone will do just as good. And then
Yeah.
hearing you both talk about how, your cell phone did just as good as your GoPro, and I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I tweaked my cell phone a little bit on the Journeys cruise during the training, and I don't know what I did, but my pictures don't look quite as clear as they did before. So I wish I could figure out what the settings were, and I'm not going to set it back to factory settings because I have almost 5,000 pictures on my phone, and I'm just like, I'm not losing those. I don't know how to get them off of there, but I'll upload them to Facebook, and that's about all I've done.
So what you should do is set up yourself a Google Photos account. It's totally free, and it'll back up all your videos and pictures, and you don't have to worry about it. It automatically links to your phone every time you take pictures. Like if I take pictures today, by tomorrow morning they'll already upload to Google Photos, and I can delete them off my phone and be able to open up the space.
Well, we have that other thing. Oh, you got it. I can't think of what it's called right now. I open it up and it says it's full. But
iCloud.
Yeah,
iCloud,
I think what it
yeah.
does, what it did before, I'd have 20 pictures and it would back those up. I'd take 30 more, it would back up the 20 and the new 30. So now instead of just backing up the new 30, it took the 20 initial and put them on there again, which gave me 40, and then the new 30 gave me 70. And now it's like, oh, you need to buy more space because your iCloud is full. And I'm like, I didn't want them out there to begin with. And second off, I'm not buying more space.
Yeah.
If they would only pull the new stuff, it wouldn't. Now, granted, because I have 5,000, definitely, I'm sure that's why it's full. But I definitely I need to look at something else because I'm getting emails and stuff from iCloud that says if you lose your phone, basically these aren't going to be backed up. So I'm trying to upload them somewhere to Facebook, a private, and say, well, no, just to Facebook, and took these in Hawaii, took these in Fiji, so at least I can refer back to them that way if they do come off the phone. But I don't know that even they'd be accessible on Facebook 7 years from now. That's
Google Photos, like I said, you set up your account, and it doesn't cost anything. And when it goes from your phone to there, it actually lists it in the days that you took those pictures. So if you got pictures on there from 10 years ago, it's going to put it on there that you took them 10 years ago, all the way up till today. And you'll be able to you'll just be able to go right down the side and select what month, what year you want to look at, and then you'll be able to just go to those pictures. And that's mainly all I use. I went ahead and bought the upgraded thing for it so I could get 2 terabytes, but you're not doing anywhere near the amount of video that I'm taking. As far as I was doing 4K videos on my phone, and I was filling up 256 gigs on in 2 days on a cruise, and having to dump my phone. That's one of the issues I had on the Vloggers cruise, is I'd fill up my phone and try to dump my phone on to do Google Photos, and the internet wasn't the best on the ship. So I could get some of them off, but I couldn't get some of the bigger ones off in time, and I ended up running out of space. So now I take a memory card with me and I dump it on the memory card, and then as I go, I can take those and put them on the Google Photos, or put them here on my. I have a external hard drive for my computer, but Google Photos, like, it's so much easier because I can always go. I can log into a computer and look at all my pictures on the Google Photos, and I can just download them off. And there's an app on your phone too, so you can link it to your phone and to your computer, and you can get them anywhere you want to.
Okay.
So,
I think I set that up by accident, and it gives you. I saw the date, and then it'll also do like almost like a in history, like on the date too, like 5 years ago or something. It's I didn't mean to set it up, but like I said, when I set up my new account or whatever, it did it, and I haven't had it very, very long, but I do like it.
It'll automatically send you collages that it makes up for you.
It does.
It's pretty cool little collages they send you. Say, hey, look, this is some memories you have here, and it'll send it to you, and it's like all your different pictures in a little collage for you. And
it does. Yeah.
Like I said, doesn't cost anything. It's just something odd that some little extra that they do for you.
Good night, Will G. Thank you
Good
for
night,
being
Will.
amazing.
Good night, Will.
We're heading out too soon.
Yeah. My phone will do that. So like this, it shows, I don't know if you can see it here, but trip to Texas. Woo, I'm fading out completely. Anyway, it says here Texas, and it shows the date, May 22 trip. I think it was, we were there for graduation. And so it groups them together like that. So I would like to have something that does that. So I'll look. I guess Tony's already downloaded it. So I'll definitely look at that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that he said when he tried to download pictures from his phone to the computer, it didn't bring it over as a JPEG. It brought it as something else. And so then he had to
HEVC or HVC, something like that.
Yeah, I'd have to change the extension of the picture to show that it was a JPEG, or he couldn't view it on the computer. So, and I haven't.
I've never had any issues with that. It automatically takes it over like a picture.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It was when I figured out how to copy it from the phone directly to the computer, and when I did that, I had to buy a 99-cent program. So because it wasn't reading that format, it was like HEVC or HCV, HE.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's another format.
There's a million different little formats sometimes on different things.
Vector, JPEG.
Yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft said in order for me to be able to read it, I had to buy this 99-cent program.
That's by design.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's after midnight here. I know it's after 1 o'clock for clock.
Yep.
I had fun tonight. If y'all like, clock, I know you sometimes have Saturday plans, y'all as well. But I think I might try to keep this time slot. It's been kind of nice, nice having a slot, and kind of, whoever wants to come up, they can come up.
Yeah.
Just know you're both always welcome.
It's fun to talk to you 3 hours and actually be able to see you.
I know, right? And not have screaming Chloe. Like, that's kind of also too why I like this time frame, because she's
or coworkers that I have to worry about.
Yeah. Being full-time jobs. But anyways, I hope y'all have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed the topic today. If you're watching this on replay, I thank you so much. If you have a topic that you would like for us to cover, I feel like we don't ask this sometimes. If there's something that maybe we've mentioned but you would like more on, for especially Embarkation Nation's channel, just please let me know. I'm trying to come up with topics, and sometimes I struggle, and I don't want to come up with boring topics that are out of reach and nobody really wants to hear about. So if there's something that you want to hear, just please let me know. I'm open ears. So
Yep.
Clock Family Adventures, thank you so much. Traveling Check, thank you so much, and I hope y'all have an amazing night.
Nice to talk to you, Mike.
Yep. Good night. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night.
Night, Jen.